Chapter 2373. Boom. The Mount Jade beast crushed the mountain rocks and blocked the entrance of the cave. It was drooling as its eyes emitted a terrifying green light. What it loved the most was the transformation of demons. These great demons had the most abundant chi and blood. Jade Mountain Beast? I thought it had no intelligence and couldn't be tamed? Diao blurted out. He was clearly shocked. Yi Qinghan grinned. Even his teeth were covered in mud. He looked like an old man. He didn't care about his appearance. He was a completely different person compared to the handsome him from before. Old monster Diao didn't even consider Yi Qinghan to be a fugitive from the endless peak mountain. Although Yi Qinghan's spiritual body was only at the initial stage of the heavenly immortal stage, he didn't dare to underestimate him. Which family's young master is this? How did you tame the Jade Mountain Beast? Old Freak Diao asked in surprise. Yi Qinghan didn't dare to pretend to be someone from the ancient Emperor Academy. After all, the person they wanted to capture was a student of the ancient Emperor Academy. Yi Qinghan grinned. This old man is called Daoist Fu Yao. I'm a demon trainer. If I can't even tame this unintelligent Jade Mountain Beast, how can I call myself a demon trainer? Fu Yao? Demon taming? Diao frowned at Yi Qinghan. Why did it feel like he was mocking him? Old monster Diao stared at Yi Qinghan with a sinister look in his eyes. If it weren't for the fact that the Mount Jade Beast's attack was 30% stronger than his, he would have crushed Yi Qinghan to death with a single strike. Hua! A cold and gloomy aura emanated from old Freak Diao's body, causing Mount Jade Beast to involuntarily take a step back. There were not many existences that could make Mount Jade Beast afraid. Only Gold Immortals or old Freak Diao, who was at the peak of the profound immortal realm. Shua! Old monster Diao's eyes flashed with a terrifying light. Even Yi Qinghan became cautious. If the Mount Jade Beast and old monster Diao really fought, he would have to bear the consequences. So, it's Daoist Fu Yao. I've heard a lot about you. I wonder, how big of a demon can you subdue? Old Freak Diao asked coldly. Yi Qinghan immediately laughed and said, Great Immortal Diao's reputation is truly great. I'm only a first-tier heaven immortal, and the most I can do is tame a creature without intelligence like this one. If it's an expert who can take human form, I wouldn't dare to touch it even if you asked me to. You know me? Old monster Diao asked. Yi Qinghan immediately replied with a smile, Great Immortal Diao, second only to the big shots in the ultimate peak mountain. Who in the world doesn't know Great Immortal Diao? Who doesn't want to rely on you? If I don't know him, then I would be too ignorant. Old Freak Diao let out a cold snort, then asked calmly, That's not entirely the case. You, Daoist Fu Yao, don't even take me seriously. Yi Qinghan laughed and said, Don't say that. I do want to rely on your mountain. Unfortunately, I'm just a rookie. I'm afraid I won't even be able to see your face once I enter the ultimate peak mountain. Is that so? You mean to say that this old man still has some face? Then this old man wants to ask you to do something for me. Can you agree? Old Freak Diao asked. Yi Qinghan naturally knew what they wanted to do, so he said, If you want to enter the mine, I naturally can't refuse, but your subordinates can't go in. You'll know once you go in and take a look. The people you want to capture aren't here, otherwise we would have discovered them long ago. And let me tell you the truth, this mine has indeed been closed for a month. When we came in, there were indeed outsiders who came in, and there was even a pool of blood. I originally thought that they were mine thieves, but there were no missing resources. With what you said, I reckon that they are the fugitives you want to capture. Unfortunately, you're too late and they've already escaped. Old Freak Diao did not expect Yi Qinghan to be so straightforward and agree to enter the mine to search. Seeing that Long Yang did not deny Yi Qinghan's request, he could not help but suspect that Yi Qinghan's identity was definitely not ordinary. Otherwise, why would he dare to go against Long Yang's wishes? Then this old man will not be polite. Whether those criminals are here or not, this old man owes you a favor. If you need anything, you can come to the ultimate peak mountain to find this old man. If I frown, I will be cursed by the world. Old Freak Diyao promised in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan smiled and gestured with his hand. Supreme Immortal, please come in. Hua! Yi Qinghan controlled the Jade Mountain Beast to open a passage for old Freak Diyao, allowing him to enter. Long Yang still blocked the entrance of the mine, not allowing old Freak Diyao's subordinates to enter, but his eyes were fixed on Yi Qinghan. Although the mine was big, could it be bigger than old Freak Diyao's spiritual sense? He did not understand why Yi Qinghan would agree to old Freak Diyao's request. Yi Qinghan was very confident. The cold qi in the cold cave was very strong, enough to freeze a person's qi. Their qi could not be transmitted out, so old Freak Diyao would not be able to find Su Zhan and the others. Hua! Roar! Yi Qinghan controlled the Jade Mountain Beast and followed behind old Freak Diyao. Old Freak Diyao was very uncomfortable, afraid that the Jade Mountain Beast would suddenly attack, so he kept half of his spiritual sense on Yi Qinghan and the Jade Mountain Beast, unable to focus on searching. Yi Qinghan smiled, and his finger moved slightly behind him, indicating for the divine bird to follow. If old Freak Diyao really found Su Zhan and the others, he would not be able to leave this mine alive. In the dim mine, there was a torch every 3 to 5 meters, and the tunnels were all over the place with many dead ends. Old Freak Diyao's spiritual sense locked on to many of the tunnels, and he slowly searched. Old Freak Diyao was very nervous. He was not afraid of Su Zhan and the others, but the Jade Mountain Beast. Fellow Taoist Fuyao, could you take the Jade Mountain Beast somewhere else and not follow me? Old Freak Diyao had found a few tunnels, and was almost driven mad by the Jade Mountain Beast's qi. He could only plead. Yi Qinghan raised an eyebrow and said, Xian Immortal Diyao, you know that this is a mine, and precious treasures can appear at any time. If I don't follow you, how am I going to answer to the Dragon Sun City Lord? Old Freak Diyao's qi stagnated, and he almost died from anger. But he had no choice. He could not fight the Jade Mountain Beast in a fit of anger, or the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom would definitely capture him. After all, he was also a wanted criminal of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. Old Freak Diyao had no choice but to remain vigilant. He asked a few people in the mine, but these miners did not seem to know of Su Zhan and the others' existence. They did not answer old Freak Diyao's questions, and the huge amount of celestial coins could only be used as bait, but had no effect at all. After searching for half a day and asking many people, old Freak Diyao had no use at all. But the precious treasure that Su Zhan and the others had stolen had disappeared here. Old Freak Diyao was not willing to give up, but he was also wary of the Jade Mountain Beast. He did not want to be tailed by a tamed Jade Mountain Beast, so he could only clench his fists and leave the mine. Old Freak Diyao's face was cold. If he had known that this would be the outcome, he would not have entered the mine. Being tailed by a Jade Mountain Beast was not a pleasant feeling. It was like being teased by Yi Qinghan, and then having to owe Yi Qinghan a favor. Chapter 2374. Diyao's face was gloomy as he walked out of the mine. Yi Qinghan followed closely behind, and the Jade Mountain Beast kept drooling. It was a wonderful feeling. The corners of Long Yang's mouth curled up into a smile. His evaluation of Yi Qinghan had risen to a new height. This kind of person did things flawlessly. He had done someone a favor, yet he still wanted to discuss them. This kind of person was quite scary. Many thanks to Taoist Fuyao for allowing me to enter the mine. I will remember this favor. Since the person I'm looking for isn't inside, I will leave first and search elsewhere. Diyao glanced at Yi Qinghan and said in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan looked like an old Taoist who didn't care about his appearance. He picked his nose and said, It's my honor to be able to do profound immortal Di Yao a favor. If fate wills it, I'll do you another favor when we meet again. Humph! Old monster Di Yao gave a muffled snort, then signaled his subordinates with his eyes and quickly left the valley. Yi Qinghan rubbed his nose and watched them leave. He couldn't help but let out a breath of turbid air. Long Yang also heaved a sigh of relief and said, "You're really brave. That Di Yao is at the peak of the profound immortal stage. Aren't you afraid of being recognized?" Yi Qinghan smiled confidently. Looking at Di Yao's receding back, he calmly said, "That old monster's target isn't me. He's focused on retrieving the treasure. His attention is focused on Su Zhan and the others. Even if I come out, he won't pay attention to me." Long Yang silently nodded his head. He had some doubts in his heart. What kind of treasure did those ancient Emperor Academy students take away from the Great Peak Mountain? They actually let a great demon take the risk to enter the Celestial Empire. Di Yao was a wanted criminal in the Celestial Empire. If he was exposed, he would definitely be hunted down. You're curious about what treasure Su Zhan and the rest took away, right? I'm curious too. Yi Qinghan shrugged, then looked in the direction where old monster Di Yao had left and said indifferently, "If it weren't for some supreme treasure, old monster Di Yao wouldn't have sneaked out and waited outside." He was also certain that Su Zhan and the others were in the mine, so they didn't leave. Long Yang signaled the cat demon. The cat demon turned back into its original form and disappeared. Yi Qinghan retreated into the mine and quickly went in with the divine bird. The deeper hole was already blocked by the cat demon. Hua! With a wave of his hand, Yi Qinghan opened the door and quickly arrived outside the cold cave. There was no light inside the cave, nor was there any aura leaking out. There was only an oppressive chill. They've temporarily left the mine. Come out first, Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. Hua! Su Zhan and the others quickly crawled out of the cave. The cold air had almost frozen their bodies. Seniors, do you have anything on you that can be used to locate your location? Why is Di Yao so sure of your location? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. Su Zhan and the rest had heavy expressions. They didn't know how to explain it to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan pursed his lips and said, "If you believe me, then tell me. If you don't, then I can't help you." Su Zhan stared at Yi Qinghan and asked in a low voice, "How are you going to help us?" Yi Qinghan said calmly, "That depends on the situation." Su Zhan had no other choice. He exchanged glances with Ouyang Xuanfeng and the rest and nodded. They chose to believe Yi Qinghan. Su Zhan explained, "I'm Su Zhan, a third-year student of the ancient Emperor Academy. I was ordered by the Academy's Battle Department's elder Ouyang to bring 5 juniors to steal something." Yi Qinghan stared at Su Zhan and said, "What I want to know is what you took from there. Can this thing be tracked by Di Yao? Do you understand?" "We stole the oldest bell on Juefeng Mountain," Su Zhan said in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan was speechless. There were many people who gave away bells. He had given Sikong Tan Lang a bell, but this was the first time he had heard of someone stealing an ancient bell. Su Zhan whispered, "This ancient bell is a key. As for more, we don't know. We were only following orders." Yi Qinghan licked his lips. Since this involved the upper echelons of the academy, it was better for him not to interfere. "There's definitely a tracking mechanism on the bell. Old freak Di Yao knows that you're inside the mine. I just sent him away. But right now, he's probably waiting outside for you to leave," Yi Qinghan reminded. Su Zhan, Ouyang Xuanfeng and the rest looked at Yi Qinghan, hoping that he could give a constructive suggestion. Yi Qinghan pointed at the cold cave and said, "The cold air here can freeze the tracking device. You guys can either hide in this cave or dig out the ice source here and put it into the ancient bell to suppress the tracking device. Or you guys can break the tracking device. I don't think you guys can do the last suggestion. Otherwise, we would have already done it." Su Zhan and the others nodded. This tracking mechanism was personally set up by a golden immortal. Their strength was too weak, so they couldn't break the tracking restriction on it. Even if they had a powerful immortal ring to shield them, they couldn't block the tracking restriction. I personally suggest that we find the ice source here and put it in your immortal ring. Then, you guys can follow me out, Yi Qinghan said calmly. Boom! At this moment, a loud noise came from the cave. Brother Yi, I found something good. The sound reverberated in the cave. It was Li Pei's voice. What is it? Yi Qinghan immediately asked. A high-grade extreme cold mysterious mother. It's the source of the cold energy in this cave. But it's too big. I need a high-grade Xian-grade immortal ring. Otherwise, we won't be able to take it out. Li Pei was overjoyed. If this thing accompanied him for a long time, his ice spear Dao would be twice the result with half the effort. In at most 100 years, he would be able to step into the Xian grade. Yi Qinghan said, Who has that bell? Someone go down and take out the high-grade extreme cold mysterious mother. Su Zhan and the rest looked at Ouyang Xuanqian. She had a golden immortal grade immortal ring. It was given to her by Elder Ouyang. I'll do it. Ouyang Xuanqian quickly jumped into the cave. Her thin body slithered around like a snake. She quickly reached the bottom of the cave and found Li Pei. Not long later, the two came out of the cave. Su Zhan and the rest were overjoyed. Because the tracking device had lost its effect. The most overjoyed was Li Pei. This high-grade extreme cold mysterious mother was too useful to him. Yi Qinghan patted Li Pei's shoulder and said softly, Brother Li, can you lend me this mysterious mother for a period of time? Li Pei was startled. He asked, What do you want to do? Yi Qinghan shook his head and smiled. It's better for Brother Li to not care about this matter. But don't worry. After I'm done with this matter, I will personally send it to the capital. Li Pei naturally wouldn't say anything. After all, Yi Qinghan was the one who paid for the mining of this mine. This high-grade extreme cold Xian mother was also discovered by them. Even if Yi Qinghan wanted to take this extreme cold Xian mother alone, he had nothing to say. Chapter 2375. A high-grade extreme cold mysterious mother was priceless. Once it appeared, it would cause a fight among golden immortals. However, Long Yang didn't know that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have allowed Yi Qinghan to take it away, even if it was to suppress the ancient bell's tracking restriction. There weren't many mines left, and the group spent half a year to finish mining them all. The mountain range was now in ruins. Aside from the high-grade extreme cold enigmatic mother, the three parties split up the rest of the resources. Excluding the celestial nation's offerings and the miners' remuneration, Yi Qinghan received 900 mid-grade extreme cold enigmatic mother, Long Yang received 600, and Li Pei received 300. As for the remaining low-grade extreme cold mysterious mother, Yi Qinghan didn't count them carefully and divided them equally. Taking a loss to gain some friendship and returning some favors was no big deal. Yi Qinghan took away all the resources. The three gathered the miners and prepared to cover Su Zhan's group as they left. The aura of Su Zhan and the others was too unique. Yi Qinghan deliberately ruined it, including the Ouyang sisters. Their clothes were ragged, and Little Fox Immortal helped them change their appearance. Finally, they lost their previous king's aura. However, it was strange for two women to appear among the miners. There had to be a plan or they would be easily exposed. Yi Qinghan looked at the two women and suggested with a smile, Cough cough, you two should sacrifice some of your looks. Dress up more flirtatiously with Cat Demon and Little Fox Immortal. After all, the students of the ancient Emperor Academy are more traditional. There won't be too many prostitutes. Old Monster Di Yao and the others won't suspect anything. Ouyang Xuanfeng and Ouyang Xuanqian were very embarrassed. They had never worn clothes that were too revealing in their lives. Even their arms were rarely seen. How could they be compared to Little Fox Immortal and Cat Demon? Su Zhan was also in a difficult position. However, for the sake of the mission, he ordered, Xuanfeng, Xuanqian, listen to Junior Yi. The mission is important. Why would we care about these small details? Ouyang Xuanfeng and Ouyang Xuanqian nodded awkwardly. Cat Demon immediately took out 2 revealing clothes from her immortal ring and gave them to the 2 sisters. The 2 sisters went deep into the cave and quickly changed their clothes. They hesitated for a long time before walking out. Everyone's eyes lit up. The siblings' figures were no different from Cat Demons. They were originally pure and innocent girls, but now that they were exposed in front of everyone, even Yi Qinghan took a second look. Their snow-white skin was so white that it seemed like water would seep out of it. Their slender waists swayed, adding to their allure. What a beautiful girl! The divine bird clicked its tongue. The Ouyang sisters looked at the divine bird's wretched appearance. It did not even have a single feather. They could not help but glare at it. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan reached out and used his clothes to store the divine bird. He did not dare touch the gem on its back, nor did he dare let the Mount Jade beast touch it. Everyone walked out of the mine. The miners were already waiting outside. When they saw the Ouyang sisters, their eyes widened. Yi Qinghan glanced at the crowd and warned in a deep voice, "Don't speak carelessly. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." These miners were old, weak, sick, and disabled. They were not strong enough, so how could they dare to compete with Yi Qinghan? They did not dare to raise their heads after hearing his warning. Set off. Boom! Yi Qinghan rode the Mount Jade beast and led the Ouyang sisters in front. Li Peiza and Long Yang were in the middle and at the back respectively. They led the large group of miners towards Sun Dragon City. However, not long after they left, Di Yao led a few mystic immortal subordinates to block Yi Qinghan's path. They searched the crowd for a long time and fixed their gaze on Ouyang Xuanfeng and Ouyang Xuanqian's faces for a long time. The 2 of them were extremely embarrassed. Yi Qinghan hugged the 2 and said with a wretched smile, "Mystic Immortal Di Yao, these 2 are my women. Your subordinates seem to be very interested in them." Di Yao also stared at the 2 for a long time. Their reactions did not match their clothes, so he was naturally suspicious. Yi Qinghan used his elbow to nudge the 2 women, indicating for them to relax. The 2 women were hugged by Yi Qinghan, and Yi Qinghan's elbow just happened to hit their huge breasts, making them even more embarrassed. However, the experienced women still reacted and quickly snuggled into Yi Qinghan's embrace with a coquettish expression. This was probably their most feminine moment. Fellow Taoist Fuyao is so lucky to have 2 women in his arms. Even this old man is envious. Di Yao laughed silently. Ha ha ha! Yi Qinghan laughed and said straightforwardly, "In life, power, women, strength, they are all things I pursue. What are these 2 women worth? When the enigmatic mother ore is sold, I will definitely find 8 or 10 of the best. If Mystic Immortal Di Yao is interested, you can come with me to enjoy it." Di Yao snorted, and his eyes wandered across the faces of the Ouyang sisters, searching for the miners and Long Yang worshippers. However, Su Zhan and the rest's acting was much better than the sisters. They did not have the slightest bit of aura and aura from before. Di Yao's subordinates shook their heads at him. They felt that those people were not in the group. The key was that the ancient bell did not send out any signal, which meant that those 6 people were not here. "Sorry to disturb you," Di Yao said in a muffled voice, then said to his subordinates, "Let's go." Hua! Old Monster Di Yao led a few experts and rushed towards the mine, disappearing from everyone's sight in the blink of an eye. Yi Qinghan's expression did not change. After leading the group for a few hours, he said to Su Zhan and the rest, "Let's go first. When Di Yao and the rest react, they will definitely catch up." Hua! Su Zhan and the rest quickly rushed onto the back of the Jade Mountain Beast. Boom boom boom! Bang bang bang! The Jade Mountain Beast stomped on the ground, and its figure shot out like an arrow, quickly leaving the group. Li Peiza chased after it, and Long Yang and his worshippers also left the ground. As for the miners, they scattered. Even if Di Yao caught up, he would not be able to find the group from before. The Jade Mountain Beast's peak speed was forced out by Yi Qinghan. He did not head straight for Longyang City. Instead, he headed straight for the capital. Yi Qinghan could not afford to waste any more time. He frantically rode the Jade Mountain Beast through the mountains, trying to reduce the distance as much as possible. Su Zhan and the rest were extremely excited. As long as they escaped to the capital, Di Yao and the rest would not dare to continue chasing. "Junior brother Yi, we will definitely remember this favor," Su Zhan said excitedly. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly. He had made friends with these 6 people before even entering the Ancient Emperor Academy. At the very least, he would have people to take care of him after he entered the academy. His life would be relatively comfortable. Seniors and brothers, there is no need to be so polite. As long as the 2 Ouyang sisters do not blame me, it is fine. Hua! After saying that, Yi Qinghan took out 2 battle robes and put them on the 2 before increasing his speed again. Traveling 50,000 kilometers in a day was definitely not faster than those mystic immortals. The Jade Mountain Beast's greatest advantage was its endurance. It could run continuously for 10 days without any signs of fatigue. After Di Yao and the rest entered the mine, they quickly discovered that the cave was extremely cold and quickly understood what was going on. Those 6 people are mixed in with Taoist Fu Yao's group. Those 2 women are from the Ancient Emperor Academy. Di Yao was enraged. Hiss hiss hiss. Di Yao and the rest were greatly angered by Yi Qinghan. They quickly left the mine and chased after him. Half a day later, they discovered that Yi Qinghan had already left the group on the Jade Mountain Beast. The Jade Mountain Beast's tracks were very easy to track. Its footprints were very large. Di Yao followed the Jade Mountain Beast's tracks madly. However, after 10 days, he still could not catch up. After all, the Jade Mountain Beast's speed was too fast. They chased all the way out of Longyang City and into the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom's territory. There were many experts here, and Di Yao had no choice but to stop. Chapter 2376. The capital was a flourishing place with countless experts. Tribes, villages, and small cities could be found everywhere. There were countless cities like Dragon Sun City. The Mount Jade Beast was too eye-catching, and it even attracted many mystic immortal experts. However, no one knew the identity of Yi Qinghan and the others, so no one dared to attack the Mount Jade Beast. The Mount Jade Beast fled like this for more than 30 days, crossing hundreds of large cities and villages. Finally, a majestic dragon city appeared in their sight. The majestic city walls seemed to reach the clouds. Even though they could see the city walls from afar, the Mount Jade Beast still took an entire day to reach the city gates with its speed. The guards outside the city gates were all heavenly immortal experts. The captain was an early-stage mystic immortal, the senior captain was a mid-stage mystic immortal, and as for the lieutenant, he was at least a high-level mystic immortal. Yi Qinghan's appearance attracted the attention of the lieutenant, and a large group of experts surrounded Yi Qinghan and the others. Su Zhan's aura changed, and the aura of a king spread out. The true aura of a supreme being caused the guards' expressions to change. Even the senior captain was on guard. "I am Su Zhan, a third-year student of the Ancient Emperor Academy. This Mount Jade Beast has already been tamed. Soldiers, please make way for us," Su Zhan said solemnly. The Ancient Emperor Academy was a place of prestige. Who wouldn't give face to the academy? Whoosh! Ouyang Xuanfeng and the others released their powerful auras and took out their identity tokens. They were all students of the Ancient Emperor Academy, and all of them were at the peak of the heavenly immortal realm. They could step into the mystic immortal realm at any time. Who was the most difficult person to provoke in this world? They weren't the princes of the celestial nation, but the students of the Ancient Emperor Academy. No matter where they went, even the princes of the celestial nation would have to give them some face. The senior captain cupped his fists and reminded, "So it's the talented students of the academy. Forgive this general for offending you. Everyone, please enter. However, please restrain the Mount Jade beast. If it goes out of control in the city, it will definitely be killed. The Mount Jade beast was truly invincible in a large city. However, in the Celestial Nation, there were no less than 100 people who could kill it with a single slap. Su Zhan nodded and patted Yi Qinghan's shoulder, indicating for him to continue forward. Da-da-da. With that, the beasts of Mount Jade slowed down, not daring to damage the roads leading to the Celestial Nation's capital. Junior brother Yi, let's rest in the city for a few days. I'll inform the elders to come pick us up. Su Zhan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, and his heart that was hanging in his throat finally settled down. Yi Qinghan nodded. This time, he still had to return the money to the East Royal family. He had to make a trip to the East Royal family's capital. However, he had to sell some of the resources in the early stages. Yi Qinghan rode the Mount Jade beast on the official road. He pursed his lips and thought to himself, I owe Dong Huang deity a huge favor this time. I'll follow my previous decision and return her 600 million. It won't be a loss to her. Dong Huang Immortal had borrowed 300 million, and in just a short year, he had returned double the amount. He had made a huge profit. Yi Qinghan looked at the wide official road. There were people coming and going. There were carriages on the road and pedestrians on the road. However, the people on both sides of the road couldn't help but look at Yi Qinghan and the Mount Jade beast. A mount like the Mount Jade beast was in no way inferior to the best sports cars on Earth. Basically, no one could tame the Mount Jade beast. The ones who could tame it were at least early-stage golden immortal mighty figures. Those who could ride the Mount Jade beast were either golden immortal bigwigs or their direct descendants or bloodline. Yi Qinghan didn't feel that he was special. He quickly rode the Mount Jade beast to a large inn. Su Zhan and the rest quickly jumped off the Mount Jade beast and said to the waiter, "Prepare 7 good rooms. Also, prepare enough meat for the Mount Jade beast and a place to rest." Yi Qinghan patted the neck of the Mount Jade beast and reminded it, "This is the capital of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. If you don't want to die, you better behave. Otherwise, I won't dare to do anything if you get killed." The Mount Jade beast wasn't without intelligence. At this moment, it actually nodded like a human. Yi Qinghan quickly brought the Mount Jade beast to the place that the inn had arranged for it to rest. There was already a large amount of high-grade immortal beast meat there. It was very fresh. The Mount Jade beast looked at Yi Qinghan expectantly. Its eyes were very clear that it wanted Yi Qinghan to roast meat for it. But Yi Qinghan smacked his head. He felt that he was looking for trouble for himself. Why would he roast meat for this beast? F***ck. I'm very tired. I'll get the inn to roast it for you. Just eat a little first. When I'm well rested, I'll roast it for you, Yi Qinghan said helplessly. The Mount Jade beast didn't dare to push its luck. Since Yi Qinghan had already agreed, it was naturally happy. The Mount Jade beast snorted at the pile of high-grade meat. It didn't eat raw meat anymore. The divine bird had a look of disdain as it scolded, "Your temper is so bad. You don't even eat raw meat. Why are you being so unreasonable?" The Mount Jade beast was like a small beast that weighed a few tons. It crawled on the ground and refused to look at the raw meat. Yi Qinghan shook his head and quickly brought the divine bird into the inn. He instructed the inn to prepare a large amount of cooked meat for the Mount Jade beast before following Su Zhan and the rest into the sky room. The 7 guest rooms were connected together. Yi Qinghan was in the first room. The room had everything that one could wish for. It was as luxurious as a city lord's palace. 10,000 celestial coins a night. This price wasn't for free. Most people couldn't afford it. Yi Qinghan threw the divine bird on the bed, took off his clothes and soaked himself in the bathtub. The water in the bathtub was actually medicinal water that exuded an immortal aura. Yi Qinghan leaned against the bathtub and looked at the ceiling. He let out a long breath of turbid air and rubbed his fingertips as he considered his next step. I have to reconstruct my golden body. The restriction on my soul body is too great. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed as he clenched his fist. He hoped that he could return 600 million to the East Imperial clan and borrow that ancient book to take a look. Not long after Yi Qinghan entered the capital, the East Imperial clan had already found traces of Yi Qinghan and quickly spread the news to the ears of the Eastern Imperial Grand Venerable. The Eastern Imperial Grand Venerable pondered for about half a day in the Grand Venerable Palace and decided to personally head to the capital to meet Yi Qinghan. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable's speed was extremely fast. Before Yi Qinghan even entered the Dragon City, he had already arrived at the Dragon City's branch. When Yi Qinghan entered the inn, a figure flashed and entered a large hall in the Eastern Imperial clan's capital. Report: Yi Qinghan has already entered the Dragon City and is staying at the Flying Dragon Inn. However, he has 6 students from the Ancient Emperor Academy by his side. A young man in green half knelt outside the hall and reported respectfully. Wait at the Flying Dragon Inn first. If there is any news, report it immediately. The voice in the hall was dignified and heavy. It was like the sound of a bronze bell, causing the young man outside to not dare to raise his head. Yi Qinghan did not expect that the future patriarch of the East Imperial clan had already entered the Dragon City and was paying attention to him. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was lying in the bathtub and almost fell asleep. He only woke up when there were a few knocks on the door. Junior Yi, Senior Su Zhan invites you to the private room for a meal. A clear voice that was like the singing of an oriole came in. Ouyang Xuanqian? Yi Qinghan raised his brows and immediately stood up. Wait for me outside. Hua. Yi Qinghan walked out of the bathtub and quickly changed his clothes. Looking at the divine bird that was fiddling with the gem on the bed, he curled his lips and said, "Let's go out and eat a good meal with me. I'll give you some compensation." The divine bird's wretched eyes narrowed as it said provocatively, "You seem to have forgotten who the boss is." Yi Qinghan was speechless and smiled bitterly. "Yes, boss, please." Chapter 2377. Creak. Yi Qinghan pushed open the door and looked at Ouyang Xuanqian. The two of them looked at each other and were obviously stunned. Ouyang Xuanqian really didn't pay attention to Yi Qinghan's appearance during this period of time. Moreover, Yi Qinghan's face was changed by the mud and disguise materials, so no one could see his true appearance. She didn't expect Yi Qinghan's temperament to be so extraordinary. He was even more handsome and domineering than Su Zhan. His angular face couldn't be described as just handsome. Yi Qinghan's appearance was absolutely extraordinary. Ouyang Xuanqian's heart thumped wildly and her face turned red. Yi Qinghan looked at the beauty in front of him. She just came out of the bath. Her black hair was draped over her shoulders, her cherry lips, her big black eyes were bright and full of spirit. Her face was thin and white, her nose was high, and her eyelashes were long and straight. She was definitely a great beauty. In addition to her seductive figure, it would be a lie to say that she wasn't attractive. I didn't expect junior brother Yi to look like this. Ouyang Xuanqian lowered her voice and said softly. Yi Qinghan smiled slightly, making him even more handsome. He said indifferently, "Senior sister Ouyang is as beautiful as a flower. You must have a lot of followers in the school. Junior brother is overpraising me. There are so many beauties in the school. I can't be ranked in the top 3. My battle strength can't be ranked in the top 3 either." Ouyang Xuanqian replied shyly. Yi Qinghan was about to speak when the divine bird called out, "Little brother, don't forget that your boss is still hungry just to pick up girls." Cough cough, Yi Qinghan awkwardly twitched his mouth and gestured, "Senior sister, please." Ouyang Xuanqian covered her mouth and laughed. She didn't expect Yi Qinghan's spirit pet to be so wretched and fun. She was even more envious of the relationship between Yi Qinghan and the divine bird. She didn't know how good the relationship between Yi Qinghan and the divine bird was. Su Zhan personally invited Yi Qinghan to a banquet. This was very rare. In the school, not to mention Su Zhan, even if someone wanted to invite him, he might not give them face. But this time, if it wasn't for Yi Qinghan, they definitely wouldn't be able to escape from Old Monster D. The six were very grateful to Yi Qinghan. As their senior, Su Zhan naturally had to return the most basic favor. They were Yezizes. They didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so extraordinary. A little bit like a prince of a celestial countries. He was a bit like a prince of a celestial, a princess. He was like a prince of a celestial prince of a country. Yi used to the s's. Such a temperament isn't something an ordinary person can have. Plus, you have that jade mountain beast. If you say you're the crown prince, I'll believe it. Su Zhan said with a smile. Yi Qinghan shrugged and replied with a faint smile, Senior Su, you're teasing me. If I'm the crown prince, would those people from the extreme peak mountain dare to put me on the wanted list? If they dare, I'll lead an army to flatten the extreme peak mountain. Su Zhan pulled Yi Qinghan to his side and asked with a smile, How did you provoke the extreme peak mountain? It's rare to see them pay 10 million celestial coins. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly and said, This matter can only be blamed on Sikong Tan Lang of the Celestial Empire. That bastard forced me into a corner, so I could only divert the trouble to him. I killed dozens of bandits of the extreme peak mountain, causing them to be unwilling to let me go. I heard that even a golden immortal big shot was alerted. It took me a lot of effort to kill my way here from Sikong City. This jade mountain beast also came out from the mine and was subdued by me unintentionally. I'm really not some crown prince. Senior, please don't tease me. Sikong Tan Lang? That mystic immortal rank joke? That mystic immortal rank trash? Su Zhan looked at Yi Qinghan in astonishment. He felt that with Yi Qinghan's cultivation, that trash Sikong Tan Lang really wouldn't dare to offend him. Yi Qinghan curled his lips and sighed. Sigh, it's him. I rushed out from his Tan Lang world. However, at that time I was only a little spirit immortal. How could he take me seriously? You have enmity with him? As long as you say the word, after this mission is completed, I'll accompany you to kill him. Su Zhan patted his chest and said confidently. The others also patted their chests and said, Brother Yi, if you have any problems in the future, feel free to tell us. You saved our lives and helped us complete our mission. Regardless of whether the Academy accepts you or not, you are still our brother. That trash Sikong Tan Lang might be a mystic immortal rank, but we really don't put him in our eyes. Yi Qinghan bitterly smiled. The reputation of the ancient Emperor Academy wasn't just for show. A few peak sky immortal rank experts dared to say that they could kill Sikong Tan Lang. If they didn't have the strength, who would dare to say that? Thank you seniors for your kind intentions. However, my enmity with Sikong Tan Lang is greater than the heavens. If I don't kill him myself, I won't be satisfied. My dead brothers and sisters will not rest in peace. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and released a baleful aura that caused the entire room to turn cold. Yi Qinghan's aura was definitely not weaker than these people. Even Su Zhan might not be able to win. Su Zhan and the others were also shocked by Yi Qinghan's aura. An immortal heaven, immortal rank, early stage sky, immortal rank spirit body. To have such an aura, it was definitely rare. The Academy would probably accept him. When Ouyang Xuanfeng and the others saw the killing intent in Yi Qinghan's eyes, they knew that the enmity between Yi Qinghan and Sikong Tan Lang was not small. This proved that Yi Qinghan's words were true. If Yi Qinghan really had a high status, Sikong Tan Lang would definitely not dare to provoke him. Brother Yi, my condolences. If you join the ancient Emperor Academy, your enmity will be easily erased. A skinny youth patted Yi Qinghan's shoulder and comforted him. Yi Qinghan breathed out a mouthful of turbid air and squeezed out a smile. My apologies for making a fool of myself. Everyone, let's eat. I still have things to do after dinner. The table was filled with delicacies that were worth at least tens of thousands of immortal coins. Such an inn was not something that people without a background could afford to stay or eat. Everyone chatted as they ate. Yi Qinghan asked about the location of the East Royal clan's capital. Only then did everyone know that Yi Qinghan had a connection with the East Royal clan's East Royal Immortal. Ouyang Xuanfeng and Ouyang Xuanfeng's expressions were somewhat unnatural. Yi Qinghan did not take it to heart. He focused on eating and drinking the immortal wine with the divine bird. Half of the delicacies on the table were finished by the two of them. Yi Qinghan would not eat in an exaggerated manner for the sake of face. However, this straightforwardness made Su Zhan and the others even happier. This group of people became Yi Qinghan's first batch of friends in the undying, immortal world. They were extremely important to his future development. Perhaps this was the karma of reaping what you sow. After the meal, Su Zhan personally brought Yi Qinghan to the immortal treasure shop. He helped Yi Qinghan sell a batch of resources. The mid-grade Xian Mother was sold for 300 million, the low-grade Xian Mother was sold for 500 million. As for the rest of the materials, Yi Qinghan did not even think of touching them. He wanted to refine the Xian immortal grade immortal weapon himself. That way, he could maximize his profits. After obtaining 800 million, Yi Qinghan bought a high-grade Xian immortal grade immortal ring. He spent over 10 million immortal coins. Thereafter, he placed 600 million immortal coins into the immortal ring that the East Royal clan gave him. The rest of the funds and materials were placed into his own immortal ring. Su Zhan sent Yi Qinghan to the East Royal clan's branch and waited outside. He allowed Yi Qinghan to enter the branch alone. Yi Qinghan originally wanted to leave after handing the immortal ring to the manager of the branch. He didn't expect the manager to inform him that the East Royal clan's young master was here and wanted to see him. He couldn't help but be startled. He pondered, isn't the East Royal clan's young master East Royal Immortal's father? Why does he want to see me? Chapter 2378. The steward of the Eastern royal family led Yi Qinghan to a small courtyard by the lake. The immortal trees in the courtyard were intertwined with each other, and the immortal fruits were swaying in the wind. Under the tree sat a middle-aged man with a restrained aura, but just by looking at his back, one could tell that he was definitely a duke. Yi Qinghan's heart suddenly sped up, staring at the back of the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable. He knew the other party's identity. After the steward of the Eastern royal family led Yi Qinghan into the courtyard, he quietly retreated. In the entire courtyard, only Yi Qinghan and the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable were left. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable sat on a chair with his back facing Yi Qinghan. He looked at the lake, his eyes filled with wisdom and spirit. Although he looked calm, his aura was much stronger than Yi Qinghan's superior aura. Junior Yi Qinghan greets the Eastern Emperor Marquis. Yi Qinghan bowed and cupped his fist. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable was not only the young master of the Eastern royal family, but also the prince consort of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. The status of the Marquis was personally conferred by the Dragon Emperor, and his status was comparable to that of a prince. You are Yi Qinghan. You look like a talent, but it's a pity that you are just a soul body. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable did not even turn his head as he coldly said. Yi Qinghan did not know why the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable wanted to see him. After a moment of silence, he said, Marquis, you flatter me. I am just a commoner. This time, I am indebted to Marquis for your help. This time, I am here to return you the 300 million, and also to thank you. Here are 600 million celestial coins. Consider it a token of my appreciation. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable obviously did not expect Yi Qinghan to return the money, nor did he expect him to return it double, so his evaluation of Yi Qinghan changed a lot. 600 million, whether it is to the Eastern royal family or to me, it is a small matter. There is no need to return it. Do you know why I came to see you personally? The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable looked at the lake and asked coldly. Yi Qinghan shook his head and calmly replied, "This junior does not know, please enlighten me, Marquis." The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable did not turn his head to look at Yi Qinghan in the eye, and only said in a cold voice, "Eastern Royal Clan's Gate, you took the 300 million, from today onwards, you are not allowed to have anything to do with Siener. You, from today onwards, you have taken the 300 million, and take it, from today onwards, you is not allowed." Yi Qinghan was startled. He did not expect the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable to see him just for this sentence. If this old man knew that you were still using the martial arts recording system to communicate with Siener, even if you were to the ends of the earth, you wouldn't be able to see the sun of the second day. Do you understand? The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable warned in a deep voice. Huff! Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. Holding on to the immortal ring, he clenched his teeth and said, "Junior knows his own limits. I have never thought of becoming the son-in-law of the Eastern royal family, nor have I thought of borrowing the power of the Eastern Emperor's bloodline to turn a chicken into a phoenix. Marquis, you are thinking too much. Since you have said so, Junior will naturally follow your wishes, but take this 600 million, I will return your money with 300 million, and I will buy back my dignity with 300 million. My dignity is more than 300 million. Hua! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and pushed. The immortal ring drew an arc and appeared on the stone table in front of the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable. Junior will take his leave. Yi Qinghan bowed slightly and turned to leave without looking back. The depression in his heart made him furious. He had never thought of becoming the son-in-law of the Eastern royal family, and had never thought of borrowing the power of the Eastern royal family to achieve glory. If he was not in urgent need of funds, he would not have asked the Eastern Emperor to borrow money. The feeling of being inferior to others gushed out from the bottom of Yi Qinghan's heart. He, who had walked out from the bottom, once again felt the helplessness of being slapped in the face with money. Huff, huff, huff! Yi Qinghan left the courtyard, exhaled a few breaths of anger, and quickly left the Eastern royal family's branch. At this time, the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable stood up and turned to look at Yi Qinghan's back as he left, revealing a cold smile. In his bones, he did not approve of Yi Qinghan, not only because Yi Qinghan was a spirit body, not because Yi Qinghan came from the grassroots, but because he was high and mighty, because Yi Qinghan had borrowed 300 million from the Eastern Emperor Immortal. An ant's dignity is not worth 300 million. Do you want to use this 600 million to change my opinion of you? The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable held onto the immortal ring and muttered to himself in disdain. In the Eastern royal family's branch, Su Zhan saw Yi Qinghan walk out with a gloomy face and immediately went up to him. "Junior Yi, what's wrong?" Su Zhan immediately asked. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. He shook his head and said, "It's nothing. I've returned a favor, and it can be considered as a load off my mind. Let's go back." Su Zhan did not ask too much. He reckoned that Yi Qinghan had been humiliated in the Eastern royal family's branch, but the Eastern royal family was not Si Kongqing. Even if he was a top student of the ancient Emperor Academy, he could not afford to offend people. Chapter 2379. In the Flying Dragon Inn, Yi Qinghan returned to his room in low spirit. Yi Qinghan lay on his bed and looked at the divine bird hugging the gem as it slept. Its bare body was glowing with immortal light, and its soul was slowly strengthening. He was curious as to what the gem was and why it didn't attack the divine bird's soul. Instead, it was strengthening the divine bird's cultivation. The divine bird wasn't even an undying spirit immortal before, but it had subtly broken through to the spirit immortal realm. The gem seemed to have fused with the divine bird, but it hadn't completely fused with its body. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but sit up straight and look at the divine bird and the gem carefully. The order within the gem was very profound, and even he felt tired after looking at it for a while. The gem was like a pure energy stone, but it also seemed like a natural chaos immortal artifact. No matter what it was, just its ability to attack the soul of a mystic immortal was extremely valuable. The divine bird benefited greatly, and the immortal spiritual energy in its body became more abundant and sharp. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but lean against the bed, afraid that he would accidentally touch the divine bird and the gem. Yi Qinghan couldn't be bothered to continue thinking about the gem's origin and use. Yi Qinghan leaned against the bed and looked out the window. The beautiful environment couldn't change his bad mood. Immortal Dongwang. It seems like I can't contact her anymore, and I can't borrow that ancient book to read. The relationship with the East Imperial family has also broken down. Sigh. Yi Qinghan sighed softly. Although he had never thought of marrying immortal Dongwang and becoming the princess's son-in-law, he had never thought of ruining the relationship with the East Imperial family. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and frowned, thinking about his next step. Rebuilding the golden body was definitely the most important, but the method to do so wasn't so easy to obtain. Wait. Yi Qinghan suddenly sat up and thought, the ancient Emperor Academy's foundation isn't any worse than the East Imperial family's. Furthermore, it's an academy. The East Imperial family's ancient books must be in the academy. Whoosh. Yi Qinghan rushed out of the room and quickly knocked on Su Zhan's door. Su Zhan pushed open the door and saw that it was Yi Qinghan. He immediately asked curiously, "Junior brother Yi, why are you looking for me?" Yi Qinghan immediately asked, "Senior Su, does the ancient Emperor Academy have a method to reconstruct the golden body?" Su Zhan frowned and thought for a while before saying, "If the physical body of an earth immortal or heaven immortal is destroyed, I know a way to reconstruct the golden body. However, you're a spiritual body that gave up when you were in the state of a spirit immortal. I really don't know how to reconstruct the golden body. As for whether the Academy has such records, I'm not sure. After all, I don't need them. Not many people pay attention to them." Few. Yi Qinghan exhaled. Although Su Zhan's words were not good news, it wasn't bad either. After all, Su Zhan just didn't pay attention to it. He didn't tell Yi Qinghan that there were no such ancient books. "I'll help you gather the students from the academies in the capital. After all, the more people there are, the more strength there is. If I didn't pay attention to the news, perhaps some of them might have," Su Zhan immediately said. "Thank you, Senior. According to what I know, there are such ancient books in the East Imperial family's library. It's a pity that my relationship with the East Imperial family ends here. I really want to reconstruct the golden body. This is very important to me. I hope that Senior can help me pay attention to it," Yi Qinghan expectantly said. Su Zhan nodded and said, "Junior, go and ask Ouyang and the others. I'll gather the students in the capital. Hopefully there will be good news." Su Zhan quickly left. He treated this matter as his own matter. It was obvious that he wanted to repay Yi Qinghan's favor. Although he couldn't repay it completely, if he could help Yi Qinghan find a way to reconstruct the golden body, he would feel much better. Yi Qinghan had an expectant look. He knocked on the doors of the other 5 people and gathered Ouyang Xuanfeng and the others. He then asked them about his doubts. Ouyang Xuanfeng and the others looked at each other. They rarely paid attention to such news because they didn't need it at all. Ouyang Xuanqian fell into deep thought, as if he was recalling something. "I remember Grandpa once told me a story about a peak-level monstrous genius. Because he was unrivaled among his peers when he was young, he offended a powerful enemy when he cultivated to the spirit immortal realm and had no choice but to give up his physical body. However, in his soul form, he was even more terrifying than junior brother Yi. He was definitely a dragon among men, sweeping through the entire celestial nation and dominating the top 3 spots on the celestial nation's immortal rankings. In order to reconstruct his golden body, he didn't hesitate to offend the Dragon Emperor and made a scene in front of him, demanding dragon blood. Although the Dragon Emperor didn't give him any dragon blood essence, he did give him some pointers. That person seemed to have succeeded in reconstructing his golden body in the end because of the Dragon Emperor's pointers. Ouyang Xuanxian pondered for a long time and finally recalled that person's name. He immediately said, "He's the Celestial Nation's Marquis Zunlong. He's also the current leader of the Celestial Nation's 9 sects. He's in charge of the safety of the Celestial Nation's capital." Yi Qinghan's pupils shrank. He immediately asked, "Are you sure? Who knows this Marquis Zunlong?" Ouyang Xuanxian and the others shook their heads. Marquis Zunlong wasn't someone from this era. He was an ancient expert. As for whether he was a soul form or not, they couldn't test it. Even Ouyang Xuanxian's grandfather, a profound immortal expert, wasn't from the same era as Marquis Zunlong. Many things were passed down orally. Yi Qinghan's fists were trembling. No matter whether he could meet Marquis Zunlong or not, at least he knew that a soul form in the heavenly immortal realm could reconstruct the golden body. He just had to see if he could find a way. Yi Qinghan breathed out a few mouthfuls of turbid air. This news was much more important than the Eastern Imperial clan's records. Does anyone know where Marquis Zunlong lives? I would like to pay him a visit. Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. Ouyang Xuanxian poured a bucket of cold water on Yi Qinghan and said, "Junior Yi, you don't know Marquis Zunlong's current status. He's only second to the 5 great immortal emperors. He's a supreme golden immortal expert. I reckon there aren't more than 5 people who can stand shoulder to shoulder with him. The ancient heavenly emperor is one, the Eastern Imperial clan's old clan head is another, the Endless Peak Mountain's mountain lord is another. As for the others, I really can't say. How would we know if we don't try? This is still a chance," Yi Qinghan said firmly. Everyone shook their heads. Yi Qinghan didn't know how strict the hierarchy in the undying immortal realm was. They reckoned that Yi Qinghan would be chased away the moment he got close to the Marquis mansion. However, Yi Qinghan's attitude was firm. Ouyang Xuanxian stood up and said, "I'll bring you over to try it out." Yi Qinghan specially returned to his room to dress up. He looked very formal. His aura was restrained and the aura of a king was emitted. His eyes flashed and his snow flood dragon armor was elegant. His aura was otherworldly and he was 30% more charming than before. Ouyang Xuanxian and company were stunned by Yi Qinghan's aura. Such a Yi Qinghan was indeed hard to find in this world. Ouyang Xuanxian quickly brought Yi Qinghan to the Flying Dragon Inn. Chapter 2380. The capital city was the largest city in the Dragon Emperor Immortal Empire. The Celestial Empire had 5 great prefectures and 108 main cities. Beneath the main cities there were tens of thousands of major cities. Beneath the major cities there were also countless smaller cities. Beneath the smaller cities there were also countless tribes and villages, forming a huge net. In the end, the main cities formed a celestial empire. Dragon Sun City was just a large city that belonged to the main city, Dragon City. Dragon City was so vast that it occupied 1/10 of the central God province. However, the inside of the city was not that exaggerated. 4 main roads separated Dragon City into 5 regions, and each region was divided by countless smaller roads. Marquis Zunlong's residence was located in the southern region, not far from the palace's main gate. The southern region was where the prince's residences and marquis residences gathered. The southern region was filled with nobles and officials. The eastern region was where the rich and powerful clans gathered, while the northern region was where the tyrants gathered. As for the western region, it was the most dangerous and definitely not as peaceful as the other 4 regions. Yi Qinghan went straight from the western region's Flying Dragon Inn to the southern region. Walking on the main road, He was not in the mood to admire the beautiful scenery of Dragon City. He was only thinking about how to get Marquis Zunlong to meet him. Even though the chances were slim, he had to try his best. Ouyang Xuanqian brought Yi Qinghan along and arrived at the southern region in half a day. If not for Ouyang Xuanqian being a disciple of the ancient Emperor Academy, they would not have been able to enter. In the southern district, Marquis Zunlong's mansion was vast and majestic. 2 gigantic lion and tiger statues were guarding it. 4 complete heavenly immortal realm experts were standing on both sides of the door. Looking around, Marquis Zunlong's mansion occupied at least 1,000 acres. This was also the gathering place for the direct descendants of Marquis Zunlong. Adding in the collateral branches, Marquis Zunlong's influence was also very great. Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Xuanqian arrived at Marquis Zunlong's residence together. They requested to meet Marquis Zunlong as they were students of the ancient Emperor Academy. Their attitude was very respectful. However, the King of Hell was easy to meet, while the little ghosts were difficult to deal with. The 4 guards looked impatient, and the captain reprimanded, "The Marquis is not someone anyone can meet just because they want to. Not even the students of the ancient Emperor Academy. Hurry up and leave." Yi Qinghan had come from the bottom, so how could he not know this? Therefore, he directly took out 1,000,000 Celeste and handed it to the captain, whispering, "Brother, please introduce me to the steward of the Marquis residence. This is just a small token of my gratitude. After the deed is done, there will be money for tea." He was willing to pay 1,000,000 celestial coins just to inform them. Who wouldn't be willing to help? "Yo, brother, you're on the right track. Follow me, I'll introduce you to someone. He might be able to bring you to meet the housekeeper of the Marquis residence." The middle-aged captain immediately put away the Celeste, and his attitude suddenly became much gentler. Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. As long as he could see Marquis Zunlong, let alone 1,000,000, he would even be willing to spend 10,000,000. The captain casually gave the other 3 100,000 Celeste coins and signaled with his eyes. Then, he brought Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Xuanqian into the Marquis residence. The Marquis residence was very big, and the scenery was beautiful. There were even rivers in the residence that flowed. Hundreds of flowers bloomed, and celestial energy lingered around. However, there were many restrictions in the residence. Anyone who dared to barge in would definitely die. The captain brought Yi Qinghan all the way. After a few incense sticks worth of time, they arrived at a courtyard. He said to Yi Qinghan, "The person living here is our patrol team's lieutenant, Lord Lin Xiao. He has a good relationship with the housekeeper of the Marquis residence. However, his taste is much better than ours. 1,000,000 is definitely nothing in his eyes." Yi Qinghan smiled and said, "Thank you for the reminder, brother. Here's 500,000 for tea. Please introduce me to him." The captain's face was full of smiles. He pushed open the door and entered the courtyard. He bowed and said, "Lieutenant Lin, there are 2 students from the ancient Emperor Academy who wish to meet you." There was a burly man sitting in the courtyard. He wore a red brocade robe with a chain of armor on his shoulders and a lion belt around his waist. He was tall and sturdy, and the domineering aura of a general was naturally born. Lin Xiao was able to work in the Marquis residence as well as being the lieutenant of the patrol team. Naturally, his strength was not weak. He was a peak mid-stage mystic immortal expert. Coupled with his equipment, ordinary peak mystic immortal experts might not dare to fight against him. He had been fighting outside for many years, and it was only after he retired that he found a good job in the Marquis residence. Lin Xiao's eyes were filled with heroic spirit and baleful aura. Because he had been fighting for many years, his body was filled with boundless killing intent. A roar of his could cause the liver and guts of tens of thousands of enemies to explode. His resolute face was filled with the aura of a sword. Lin Xiao's voice was like a bell. He glanced at Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Xuanfeng and asked in a deep voice, "What do the students of the ancient Emperor Academy want to meet this general for?" Yi Qinghan hurriedly said respectfully, "General, this little one wishes to meet the Marquis." Lin Xiao glared and coldly reprimanded, "Nonsense? Do you think the Marquis is someone you can meet just because you want to? Hurry up and leave the Marquis residence. If it wasn't for the fact that you're from the ancient Emperor Academy, this general would have already executed you on the spot." Yi Qinghan bitterly smiled and directly handed over an immortal ring. There were 10 million celeste inside. "My lord, please think of a way." Junior heard that Marquis Zun Long was also a spiritual body when he was young. He was only able to reconstruct his golden body because of Lord Dragon Emperor's guidance. Junior also wishes to reconstruct his golden body and hopes to receive some guidance from Lord Marquis. Yi Qinghan's temperament was outstanding, but he was extremely respectful. He gave Lin Xiao enough face. Lin Xiao only took a cursory glance at the immortal ring and saw the number of celeste inside. He couldn't help being shocked. Taking out 10 million celeste for a recommendation, this was quite bold. The matter of meeting the Marquis is arranged by the housekeeper. This general doesn't dare to guarantee anything. I'll bring you to see Housekeeper Long. If he allows you to meet him, then you can meet him. If he doesn't, then this general can't do anything about it. Lin Xiao took the immortal ring and said indifferently. Yi Qinghan was overjoyed and hurriedly thanked. "Whether or not I can meet the Marquis, this junior will be moved to tears. Money makes the world go round." Lin Xiao took the 10 million celeste and directly brought Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Xuanfeng to the housekeeper's residence. Long Feng was the housekeeper of the Marquis residence. It was said that he had followed Marquis Zun Long since he was young. He was deeply trusted and liked by the Marquis. As long as Long Feng recommended someone, they would basically be able to meet Marquis Zun Long. It was just a matter of time. Lin Xiao asked about the identity of Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Xuanqian. When he found out that Ouyang Xuanqian was the elder of the ancient Emperor Academy's battle department, Ouyang Hua, he couldn't help nodding his head. Ouyang Hua's identity wasn't bad. It made sense for his own granddaughter to come and meet the Marquis. Soon, Lin Xiao brought Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Xuanqian to find Long Feng. Long Feng was an old man with an immortal aura. He looked very amiable. His hair was white, but his face was ruddy. He looked like he was in his 50s. Lin Xiao signaled Yi Qinghan with his eyes. Yi Qinghan was very tactful and immediately handed over an immortal ring with 10 million celeste. This was prepared before they came. It could be seen how much Yi Qinghan wanted to meet Marquis Zun Long. Long Feng received it with a chuckle. Many people wanted to meet Marquis Zun Long. Paying for things was an unspoken rule. "What's your name? Why are you looking for the Marquis?" Long Feng asked with a smile. Yi Qinghan immediately answered truthfully, "Junior is Yi Qinghan. Because I heard that Marquis Zun Long was also a spirit body when he was young, I specially came to consult the Marquis. I hope that the Marquis can give me some pointers." Long Feng looked at Yi Qinghan and nodded, "And you are sincere. The rumors in the underworld are true. The Marquis was indeed a spirit body when he was young. Therefore, the chances of you meeting him are very high. However, everything depends on the Marquis' schedule. If you don't meet him, don't blame me. If you go out and slander the reputation of the Marquis residence, don't blame this old man for being impolite." Yi Qinghan nodded and said, "This junior understands. Don't worry, Housekeeper Long. Whether I can meet the Marquis or not, I will treat everything that happened today as if nothing happened. I was missing a chapter just now, but I've made up for it now. QQ Reading has been updated in time. If you can't see it from other channels, you can read it on QQ Reading. I'm really sorry, I'll update it." Chapter 2381. Long Feng promised Yi Qinghan and arranged for Yi Qinghan to wait outside his courtyard. As for whether or not he would be able to see Yi Qinghan, and when he would be able to see Yi Qinghan, everything was unknown. Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Xuanqian sat in the courtyard and waited anxiously. This time, they had spent more than 20 million. If they could not see Marquis Zunlong, it would be a huge loss. In the banquet hall of the Dragon Palace, there were only two people. One was a dignified old man, and the other was the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable had specially come to meet Marquis Zunlong, and without alerting Long Feng and the others, he had quietly appeared in the Dragon Palace. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable was also a marquis, the prince consort of the princess of the immortal country. In terms of seniority, he was a generation lower than Marquis Zunlong, and in terms of status, he was also a head lower. However, this did not mean that it was difficult for him to meet Marquis Zunlong inside the hall. The two of them sat opposite each other with smiles on their faces, as if they were chatting about something. Long Feng did not know that the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable was here, so he directly walked in. Just as he was about to speak, he saw the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable and was stunned. So Marquis Taizun is also here. This lowly one did not know, please forgive me. Long Feng quickly bowed and said, So it's Steward Long, ha ha ha, I snuck in. I didn't want to disturb you, so I returned to the Eastern Divine Region after seeing Marquis Zunlong. I didn't expect you to bump into me. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable smiled. Although Long Feng was only a steward, who wouldn't give him some face, Long Feng had an awkward expression on his face as he respectfully said, This lowly one was reckless. Marquis, please chat. Marquis Zunlong's aura was terrifying. This was a result of being in a high position for many years. Whether it was Yi Qinghan or Long Yang, they were not even fit to carry his shoes. Even the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable had to bow to him as a junior. Long Feng, if you have anything to say, just say it. The Grand Venerable is not an outsider. Marquis Zunlong said in a deep voice. Long Feng wasn't prepared for this at all. After being reprimanded by Marquis Zunlong, he hurriedly said respectfully, There are two students from the Ancient Emperor Academy outside. One is a spiritual body called Yi Qinghan, and the other is Ouyang Hua's granddaughter. They heard about your deeds when you were young and came to see you, hoping to receive your guidance. Upon hearing Yi Qinghan's name, the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable immediately frowned and asked, Yi Qinghan? Is it a young man? Yes. I didn't expect the Supreme Marquis to know this person as well. Long Feng immediately said in surprise. Marquis Zunlong looked at the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable and asked, Grand Venerable, you know that little fellow? The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable raised the corner of his mouth, revealing a hint of disdain as he mocked. He's just an opportunist. It's best if Uncle Dragon Marquis doesn't see him, so as to not tarnish your eyes. What do you mean? Marquis Zunlong was a little curious. Normally, the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable would not randomly evaluate people. To be able to make the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable give such an evaluation, it could be seen that this person was indeed somewhat unbearable. The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable had a very bad impression of Yi Qinghan, so his evaluation of him was naturally very bad. This Yi Qinghan once saved my Xian Er's life, so logically speaking, I should be thanking him. However, as soon as I finished my work and was about to meet him, he actually asked Xian Er for 300 million through the martial arts systems informant. I've seen many people like him. It's not that I'm looking down on him, but his methods are too low-end. If he had come directly to me, I would have no problem arranging a good position for him. Unfortunately, he actually asked Xian Er for money. The funniest thing is that when he saw me, he actually took out 600 million to pay me back. His goal is too simple. He wants me to look at him in a different light and then give him a chance to get close to Xian. Unfortunately, I saw through him and he came to curry favor with you." The Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable thought for a moment, then snorted. "Furthermore, as far as I know, he is not a student of the ancient Emperor Academy, but an ant that ascended from a small world. He pretended to be a student of the ancient Emperor Academy. If Yi Qinghan directly returned 300 million, they might not think too much about it, but if Yi Qinghan returned double the amount, they would naturally think of the worst." Following that, Yi Qinghan came to request an audience with Marquis Zunlong, so they would naturally think that he was trying to curry favor with Marquis Zunlong and wanted to find another backer. What I hate the most in my life are opportunistic villains. Long Feng, go down. Tell him that I don't have time to see him. Tell him to leave. Marquis Zunlong said impatiently. Long Feng did not expect Yi Qinghan to be this kind of person, and immediately bowed and said, "Sorry to disturb you, this lowly one will let him leave." Yi Qinghan never would have thought that the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable would also be in the Zunlong Marquis Palace, nor would he have thought that the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable's words would cause Marquis Zunlong's impression of him to be so bad. Long Feng quickly returned to his courtyard. With a cold expression, he said silently, "Yi Qinghan, Marquis Zunlong does not have time. You can leave." Yi Qinghan's expression suddenly changed, and he quickly said, "Butler Long, please think of another way. Money is not a problem." Hua! Long Feng waved his hand and threw back the immortal ring that Yi Qinghan had given him, and said coldly, "This is not a matter of money. Take back this immortal ring, this old man does not dare to enjoy it." Yi Qinghan was a little confused. He did not know why Long Feng's attitude towards him had changed so much. "Let me tell you the truth, there is still a marquis in the Zunlong Palace, and you know him. That is the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable Marquis. Do you understand what is going on now? My marquis hates opportunistic villains who look for backers everywhere. They don't even have any loyalty and are full of nonsense." Long Feng coldly reprimanded. Yi Qinghan frowned and clenched his fist. Anger surged from the bottom of his heart. He did not expect the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable to judge him as an opportunistic villain who was full of nonsense. "Butler Long, how can you judge junior brother Yi like that?" Ouyang Xuanxian argued and asked crisply. Long Feng looked at Yi Qinghan mockingly and asked in disdain, "It is good that I judge him like that. Let me ask you, Yi Qinghan, are you really a student of the ancient Emperor College? Do you really think this old man is easy to deceive? Let me ask you again, did you borrow 300 million from Dongwang Xiener and then return 600 million? Yi Qinghan's heart sank and asked, "This junior is still not a student of the ancient Emperor College, but I only lacked a report. This is not considered lying, right? Also, although I borrowed 300 million from Dongwang Xiener, I returned it. Furthermore, I returned 300 million. Is there a problem with that?" "Humph!" Long Feng coldly snorted and said, "Whether you're lying or not, I don't know, and I don't want to care, but you borrowed 300 million to return 600 million, even an idiot knows what you want to do. You were rejected by the East Imperial family, and in less than a day, you came to the Zunlong Marquis Mansion to curry favor with them. I've seen a lot of people like you. Quickly leave, don't dirty this old man's mood." Hiss, 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 hiss. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and exhaled. He clenched his fists and shook his head. He looked at Ouyang Xuanxian with a bitter smile and said softly, "Let's go." Ouyang Xuanxian still wanted to explain. She knew that Yi Qinghan only wanted to ask the Zunlong Marquis Palace to teach him how to reconstruct the golden body, and not to curry favor with them. However, Yi Qinghan did not let her explain. She had a preconceived impression, and that impression could not be changed. Rather than wasting his breath and ruining his mood, it was better to leave. "Let's go. Stop talking." Yi Qinghan grabbed Ouyang Xuanxian's hand and pulled her out of the Zunlong Marquis Palace. Chapter 2382. Yi Qinghan was silent all the way back to the Flying Dragon Inn, his expression extremely ugly. Ouyang Xuanxian did not know how to persuade Yi Qinghan. No one would feel comfortable being misunderstood as a scheming person, not to mention that the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable had ruined Yi Qinghan's plans. Just as he arrived at the Flying Dragon Inn, Su Zhan had already returned. He did not look happy, it seemed like he did not make any good progress. Su Zhan looked at Yi Qinghan's gloomy face and knew that he had also been rejected at the Zun Long Marquis mansion. However, he did not know that Yi Qinghan had also been humiliated. Junior Yi, when we return to the academy, I will help you check the ancient records. Don't be sad. Su Zhan consoled. Yi Qinghan smiled unnaturally and asked Su Zhan when the academy would send experts to pick them up. Su Zhan's answer made him very satisfied. In 3 days, Ouyang Hu would personally appear in the capital to welcome Su Zhan and the others back. That mission was too important, so it was not surprising that Ouyang Hu would personally take action. Yi Qinghan returned to his room. He knew that the Eastern Imperial family and the Zun Long Marquis mansion were cut off and could not be used again. Even if the Eastern Imperial family allowed him to go, he would not be willing to go. The divine bird was still cultivating and seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep. Yi Qinghan looked at the divine bird for a while and discovered that its soul undulation had strengthened by a lot, reaching the middle stage of the undying spirit immortal realm. What is this gem? Why can it let the divine bird advance so quickly? Yi Qinghan muttered to himself in surprise. He reached out to touch the divine bird, and a ray of light suddenly exploded, sending him flying, almost smashing through the barrier of the house. The gem had already fused with the divine bird. Unless the divine bird was willing, he could not touch it at all. Yi Qinghan's fingertips trembled. The pain did not go away for a long time. His eyes stared at the gem in the divine bird's bosom. The layers of light contained endless profound laws, making it impossible to see through the gem. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan used his high-grade Xian, immortal-grade immortal ring, and tried to keep the divine bird and the gemstone into his immortal ring. Unfortunately, he still failed. He then tried to use his wild martial great world to keep the divine bird, but he still failed. Now Yi Qinghan had no way to deal with the divine bird and the gemstone. In the end, he could only smile bitterly and sit cross-legged on his bed to cultivate. He did not go out for several days. 3 days later, an old man came to the Flying Dragon Inn. Even the owner of the inn came out to welcome him. He was the elder of the ancient Emperor Academy's battle department, Ouyang Hu. He was dressed in a fiery red battle robe and had a blue jade hanging from his waist. He didn't need to be angry to give off an imposing aura. His cultivation level had already reached the high level of the mystic immortal realm. Even in the Celestial Empire, he would be the city lord of a main city. Yet, he was content to be an elder in the ancient Emperor Academy. Su Zhan led Ouyang Hua to the inn and told him about all the dangers he had encountered along the way. Only then did he realize that the reason they were able to complete the mission was all thanks to Yi Qinghan. You said that he was recommended by someone to enroll in the ancient Emperor Academy? In a private room, Ouyang Hua was a little shocked. Who was it that could make Yi Qinghan so confident that he would be able to enter the ancient Emperor Academy? Su Zhan and the rest shook their heads. Ouyang Xuanxian, on the other hand, said with certainty, although he didn't say who recommended him, with his strength, it shouldn't be a problem for him to enter the ancient Emperor Academy. Oh, to be able to make my dear granddaughter so certain, this old man wants to see if this person has 3 heads and 6 arms. Ouyang Hu looked at Ouyang Xuanxian mockingly and said with interest, Su Zhan, go and invite this Yi Qinghan over here. Su Zhan quickly got up and ran to Yi Qinghan's room. He knocked on the door fiercely. Yi Qinghan was awakened. He turned around and saw that the divine bird was still sleeping. He opened the door and saw that it was Su Zhan. He asked, "Senior Su, could it be that someone from the academy is here to pick us up?" Su Zhan immediately nodded and said, "Junior Yi, it's our battle department's elder, Lord Oyanghua. Hurry up and prepare. The elder wants to see you. You have to perform well. As long as Elder Ouyang is satisfied, even if you weren't recommended by someone else, he can still accept you into the Ancient Emperor Academy." Yi Qinghan immediately became serious. If he could enter the Ancient Emperor Academy, he would at least have a place to settle down. Moreover, the mystic immortal secret technique of the Ancient Emperor Academy was definitely of a higher grade than any other place. After that, Yi Qinghan washed up and changed his clothes. He then quickly went downstairs with Su Zhan to the private room. There was nothing to say about Yi Qinghan's appearance. It was normal for his temperament to attract Ouyang Xuanqian. However, Oyanghua didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be a spirit body. A spirit body? Your spirit body is very strong, and your temperament is not bad. No wonder my granddaughter has such a high opinion of you. However, you can't enter the Ancient Emperor Academy based on your appearance. Oyanghua sat on a chair and said indifferently. Junior Yi Qinghan greets Elder Ouyang. Junior definitely didn't rely on his appearance to get here. Instead, he relied on his strength. I hope Elder won't misunderstand. Yi Qinghan bowed slightly and said in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. Oyanghua laughed and leaned against the chair. He stared at Yi Qinghan and asked, "Yi Qinghan, who recommended you to the Ancient Emperor Academy?" Yi Qinghan hesitated for a moment before taking out the jade pendant and said, "It was the Nine-Heaven Mystic Immortal who asked Junior to bring this jade pendant to see the Ancient Heavenly Emperor. She said that as long as I have this jade pendant, the Ancient Heavenly Emperor will protect me." Protection? What do you mean? You're not going to enter the Ancient Emperor Academy as a student? You're just escaping? Could it be that even the Nine-Heaven Mystic Immortal Fairy can't protect you? Oyanghua immediately asked. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. The fact that he was wanted by the Extreme Peak Mountain was no secret. He said truthfully, Junior was personally ordered by a big shot of the Extreme Peak Mountain. Oh, I remember now. Aren't you the Yi Qinghan that Yang Zhixian personally ordered to be captured? Oyanghua asked curiously. Yi Qinghan silently nodded and didn't hide anything. So it's you. No wonder this old man felt that your name was weird. Oyanghua immediately laughed. He didn't think that he would meet the legendary Little Spirit Fairy. He also didn't think that Little Spirit Fairy would reach the early stage of the Heaven Immortal Realm. Yi Qinghan awkwardly laughed and didn't know how to respond. Ouyang Xuanqian felt the awkwardness in the room. He quickly sat in front of Oyanghua and said coquettishly, "Grandfather, you're experienced and knowledgeable. You're also an elder of the academy. Do you know if there's a method to reconstruct a golden body? Junior Yi saved the lives of the 6 of us and helped us complete our mission. You must help him reconstruct a golden body." Oyanghua thought for a while and frowned. There's a case of a Heaven Immortal Realm golden body reconstruction in the academy. However, it was a failure. As far as I know, the only successful case of a golden body reconstruction is Marquis Zun Long. You can ask him. Ouyang Xuanqian immediately said, "We went to see him. However, Marquis Zun Long has some misunderstandings about Junior Yi and doesn't want to see us. Why don't you help to talk to him?" Without waiting for Oyanghua to reply, Yi Qinghan immediately said, "Senior Sister Ouyang, don't make things difficult for the elder. I understand this matter. Marquis Zun Long won't get rid of his misunderstandings about me. After all, the one who gave me such a bad impression is the Eastern Imperial Grand Venerable Marquis. I don't think anyone can help. I'll think of another way." Oyanghua was curious. He carefully asked about the whole story. He felt that Yi Qinghan didn't do anything wrong. He really didn't understand why the Eastern Imperial Grand Venerable had such a bad impression of Yi Qinghan. Chapter 2383. Ouyang Huo was very curious. He wanted to know if Yi Qinghan was hiding something from him or if the Eastern Sovereign and Marquis Zunlong had misunderstood Yi Qinghan. Therefore, he decided to visit the Zunlong Manor personally. As an elder of the ancient Emperor Academy, it was normal for Ouyang Huo to pay a visit to the famous Marquis Zunlong. It was just that he didn't have the qualifications to meet the Dragon Emperor. If he could, he would definitely bow and greet the Dragon Emperor. After the exchange, Ouyang Huo left the Wyvern Inn by himself. His speed was extremely fast. After a few incense sticks worth of time, he arrived at the southern district. After a few flashes, he arrived outside the Zunlong Marquis estate. After revealing his identity, these people didn't dare to accept benefits from an elder of the ancient Emperor Academy. They quickly went to find butler Long Feng. Long Feng had a high position, but it didn't mean that he could ignore an elder of the ancient Emperor Academy. He quickly went to greet Ouyang Huo. Outside the Zunlong Manor, Long Feng smiled and cupped his fist. Ha ha ha, Elder Ouyang, what brings you here? Although Long Feng was a butler, he represented Marquis Zunlong. Ouyang Huo cupped his fists and returned the greeting. This old man came to the capital today to settle some matters. I'm also here to visit Marquis Zunlong. Please forgive me for disturbing you. Elder Ouyang is too kind. Since you have personally come to visit, the Marquis will naturally be very happy. That's right, the Supreme Marquis is also a guest in the mansion. Just in time for lunch, please follow me. Long Feng quickly gestured with his hand. Ouyang Huo stepped into the Zunlong Manor and quickly arrived at the Zunlong Hall. However, Long Feng didn't directly bring Ouyang Huo in. Instead, he asked the two marquises for their opinion. Ouyang Huo's status wasn't low, but if he wanted to eat with the marquises, he would have to ask for their opinion. If either of them didn't agree, Ouyang Huo wouldn't be able to enter the Zunlong Hall today. Ouyang Huo naturally understood, so he waited quietly outside the hall. Inside the hall, the two marquises were stunned. They wanted to have a good chat, but they didn't expect an elder of the ancient Emperor Academy to come here. If this Ouyang Huo wasn't an elder of the ancient Emperor Academy, we wouldn't have to give him face even if he was at the peak of the Xian immortal realm. However, he is one of the ancient heavenly emperor's people, so it wouldn't be right if we didn't give him face. Let him in, said Marquis Zunlong. The Eastern Emperor Grand Exalt nodded as well. Ouyang Huo was an elder of the ancient Emperor Academy's battle department. There was nothing bad about interacting with him. At the very least, it was useful to greet his own people when they entered the ancient Emperor Academy. Long Feng quickly returned outside the hall and brought Ouyang Huo into the hall. Ouyang Huo greets Marquis Zunlong and Marquis Tai Zun. Please forgive me for disturbing you. Ouyang Huo bowed. The two marquises didn't get up and just nodded slightly. And there's no need to be so courteous. I didn't know Elder Ouyang was coming, so please forgive me for not going out to meet you. I didn't prepare anything today, so let's sit together and accompany me. Marquis Zunlong said indifferently. Ouyang Huo immediately said respectfully, Marquis is willing to meet this junior. This junior is already very touched. How can I let Marquis personally come out to greet me? Long Feng quickly took a chair from the side and arranged for Ouyang Huo to sit down. Ouyang Huo sat down cautiously. Although he was also in a high position, he couldn't let go in front of two powerful marquises. Long Feng, there are no outsiders today. Let's sit down and eat together. Marquis Zunlong looked at Long Feng and said calmly. In fact, it was because there was an outsider like Ouyang Huo. If there were only two marquises and Ouyang Huo, the atmosphere would definitely be strange. Long Feng had accompanied Marquis Zunlong for many years and naturally understood him. Therefore, he didn't stand on ceremony and pulled a chair over to sit beside Ouyang Huo. The Eastern Emperor Grand Exalt looked at Ouyang Huo and asked curiously, Elder Ouyang is busy every day. Why did you suddenly appear in the capital today? Obviously, Marquis Zun Long and Long Feng were also curious. They naturally didn't think that Ouyang Hua came to meet the marquises alone. Ouyang Hua smiled cautiously and said, reporting to the Grand Exalt Marquis, there are a few good-for-nothing disciples in the academy who came out to carry out a mission. It's quite important. After the mission is completed, I was afraid that there would be an accident, so I specially came to bring them back. Marquis Zun Long nodded. Then, he thought of Yi Qinghan and asked cautiously, is that Yi Qinghan from your academy? Ouyang Hua didn't dare to lie and replied truthfully, not yet, but I heard that he was recommended by the 9 Heaven Xian Immortal. As for the specifics, we still have to listen to the ancient Heavenly Emperor. This news made Marquis Zun Long hate Yi Qinghan even more. This was because in his opinion, Yi Qinghan had indeed lied in order to meet him. It seems that the Grand Exalt's evaluation and information are not false. If such a person enters the ancient Emperor Academy, this Marquis will be somewhat disappointed in the Academy. Marquis Zun Long's indifferent words had a great effect. Ouyang Hua was shocked. He didn't expect Marquis Zun Long to hate Yi Qinghan so much. He even spoke about Yi Qinghan's fate. Not to mention Ouyang Hua, even the ancient Heavenly Emperor had to consider Marquis Zun Long's words. Forgive this junior for being so bold, but I really don't know how this Yi Qinghan offended the 2 marquises. If this person is really unworthy, then I will reject him today, so as to avoid making things difficult for the ancient Heavenly Emperor. Ouyang Hua said respectfully. As far as I know, he saved a few of your disciples and 2 granddaughters, and your rejection of him has instead ruined your reputation. However, this person is a fence-sitter, a opportunistic villain, seeking refuge everywhere, first seeking refuge with this Marquis, but I saw through his intentions and directly rejected him. This morning, he came to seek refuge with Marquis Zun Long, and coincidentally, I am also here, but Marquis Zun Long did not see him. I don't know how he got to know the 9 Heaven Xian Immortal, but to be able to get the 9 Heaven Xian Immortal to recommend him, it can be seen that this person's methods are not ordinary. I believe that you came today not only to meet Marquis Zun Long, but also to help Yi Qinghan as a lobbyist, right? Ouyang Hua immediately felt awkward. Eastern Emperor Grand Sovereign was right. In fact, he did want to return Yi Qinghan's favor. He hoped that Marquis Zun Long could give him some pointers so that Yi Qinghan could reconstruct his golden body. Marquis Zun Long saw Ouyang Hua's expression and knew that Eastern Emperor Grand Sovereign's guess was right. He despised this kind of opportunist even more. However, he didn't know that Yi Qinghan didn't support Ouyang Hua coming to Zun Long Marquis Mansion. This junior did come today to meet the Marquis and test Yi Qinghan's character. This Yi Qinghan doesn't support me, but I want to know his true character, so I still insisted on coming. I hope the 2 marquises won't blame me. Ouyang Hua said with an embarrassed smile. Humph, of course he doesn't want you to come, because other than the Eastern Emperor family and Zun Long Marquis Mansion, your ancient Emperor Academy is his last backing. If you understand his nature, where should he go? Eastern Emperor Grand Sovereign said disdainfully. Chapter 2384. Sorry, I missed another update yesterday. I'm really **ket up. I'm very sorry about today's matter. In order to express my apology, I've decided to guarantee 10 chapters on the 2nd of May. Otherwise, I won't have the face to see anyone. Inside the revered Dragon Palace, the 2 marquises were too domineering. Their evaluation of Yi Qinghan was unusually firm. Perhaps Ouyang Hua trusted the 2 marquises too much, but his impression of Yi Qinghan was getting worse and worse. When he thought about Yi Qinghan, he felt that this person was too good at pretending. This was especially so when he borrowed money from immortal Dong Wang. This matter was simply a stain on his record. At the beginning, he didn't ask for a single cent when he saved immortal Dong Wang. He retreated in order to advance. But in less than half a year, he contacted immortal Dong Wang and borrowed 300 million in one go. He then returned 600 million a year later. First, he relied on the Nine Heavens Xian Immortal. The Nine Heavens Xian Immortal didn't want to care about worldly affairs and couldn't protect him. Then, he relied on the Eastern Emperor clan. His plan failed. Then, he turned to the Zun Long Marquis Palace. Every step was perfect. If such a person wasn't a fence-sitter, then what was? If he wasn't an opportunist, then what was he? Ouyang Hua actually didn't have any room to refute. He even subconsciously believed the Eastern Emperor Grand Sovereign and Marquis Zun Long, this Yi Qinghan once saved my granddaughter and helped her complete a huge mission in the academy. If I reject him like this, I'll be embarrassed. I wonder if Marquis Zun Long is willing to give me a few pointers and tell me how to reconstruct the golden body. I'll repay him and let him live on his own. Ouyang Hua helplessly asked. Such a despicable person isn't worthy of my pointers. I've already told you his character. Whether it's you or the ancient heavenly emperor, if you want to accept him, then accept him. Pretend that I didn't say anything. Marquis Zun Long coldly said. Such a domineering person would never go back on his word. Ouyang Hua took a deep breath and felt helpless. It seemed that in order to not make things difficult for the ancient heavenly emperor, he had to bear the burden of an ungrateful, despicable person. Ouyang Hua stood up and respectfully said, Junior knows what to do. Many thanks to the two marquises for the reminder. Junior won't eat this meal. Marquis Zun Long didn't urge him to stay. He just nodded and said, Long Feng, help me send Elder Ouyang off. After Long Feng responded, he walked out of the Honorable Dragon Palace with Ouyang Hua. Along the way, he explained his understanding of Yi Qinghan. He also told Yi Qinghan about how he bribed Ouyang Hua to see Honorable Dragon Marquis. This made Ouyang Hua even more suspicious of Yi Qinghan. What did it mean for three powerful beings to give such an evaluation of a person? It seems that this Yi Qinghan really isn't worth nurturing. Steward Long, don't worry. I'll reject him as soon as I return. Also, please help me thank the two marquises for their warning. Ouyang Hua said in a deep voice. Inside the Wyvern Inn, Yi Qinghan was looking forward to Ouyang Hua's trip to the Marquis mansion. Perhaps he could really obtain the technique to reconstruct the golden body. However, he didn't expect that Ouyang Hua would be convinced by the two marquises. He had completely become a scheming person who was looking for backers everywhere. He didn't even have the chance to enter the Ancient Emperor Academy. Actually, Su Zhan and the others were also anxiously waiting. The Ouyang sisters were especially anxious. However, not long after, Ouyang Hua returned with a gloomy expression. His eyes were like an eagle's as he looked at Yi Qinghan with a sharp gaze. However, Yi Qinghan didn't show any signs of fear. He calmly looked back at Ouyang Hua. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. Ouyang Hua became more and more suspicious. Let alone Yi Qinghan, who was only a low-tier heaven immortal rank soul body, even Su Zhan wouldn't be able to withstand such a gaze. What did Yi Qinghan rely on? He relied on his mental fortitude and powerful disguise. What a scheming person. Ouyang Hua gave his final evaluation. Then, he said, Su Zhan, you guys leave. I have something to say to Yi Qinghan. Su Zhan and the others looked at Ouyang Hua in astonishment. They felt that his words wouldn't be anything good. They were worried about Yi Qinghan. However, they didn't dare to disobey Ouyang Hua's orders. They could only choose to leave the room. Only Yi Qinghan and Ouyang Hua were left in the room. Yi Qinghan seemed to have a premonition. He said, Elder Ouyang, if you have something to say, you can just say it. Ouyang Hua handed over an immortal ring and said, Yi Qinghan, this old man is very grateful to you for saving the 6 students of my academy and helping me complete the mission. This old man will give you something to repay you. However, you don't have to follow us to the academy. As for why, you should know. I hope you know your place and don't make things difficult for this old man or the ancient heavenly emperor. Asterisk Yi Qinghan's heart was filled with anger. He didn't expect to receive such an answer. Ouyanghua's eyes were like torches as he stared at Yi Qinghan. Seeing the helplessness and anger in Yi Qinghan's eyes, he naturally thought that Yi Qinghan was desperate. Yi Qinghan looked at the immortal ring for a long time. In the end, he smiled and felt relieved. Reality was often very cruel. For example, the words of the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable, or Marquis Zun Long's refusal to meet. And now, if he was the crown prince of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Empire, who would dare to humiliate him so openly? In a few days, Yi Qinghan had been humiliated 3 times. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't angry. However, the 3 humiliations didn't even give him the chance to resist. He could only silently endure. Yi Qinghan looked at the immortal ring. He didn't know what was inside, but so what? Since this group of people looked down on him, why should he care about their gazes? What he lacked were resources and strength. If they gave it to him, he had to accept it. Otherwise, saving 6 lives and a big mission would be a waste. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and received the immortal ring. He said indifferently, "Don't worry, I won't make things difficult for Elder and Lord Ancient Heavenly Emperor. I will accept this immortal ring, so you don't have to be troubled." Yi Qinghan's performance made Ouyang feel at ease. At the same time, he despised Yi Qinghan. He felt that the 2 marquises and Long Feng's evaluation were not wrong. Knowing that his plan had failed, he stopped after obtaining some benefit. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan leisurely turned around and directly pushed open the door. Su Zhan and the others were waiting outside. Looking at Yi Qinghan's smiling and angry expression, they wanted to ask something. However, Yi Qinghan's eyes had already turned cold and gloomy. Yi Qinghan's voice was as loud as a bell. He was filled with determination and a domineering aura. Taoist Su Zhan, I'll have to trouble you to return that high-grade profound cold mother to me. I have some matters to attend to, so I won't be following you to the academy. Su Zhan and the Ouyang sisters were shocked. To be honest, the 6 of them were very grateful to Yi Qinghan and hoped that Yi Qinghan could follow them to the Ancient Emperor Academy. Ouyang coughed and said, "Su Zhan, little friend Yi has important matters to attend to. Return that profound cold mother to him." Su Zhan could only helplessly take out the high-grade profound cold mother. Yi Qinghan swiped his immortal ring. An array of light flashed as the high-grade profound cold mother was taken away. Da-da-da! Yi Qinghan ran all the way and wrapped the divine bird in a bedsheet before bringing it downstairs. Under the gazes of Su Zhan and the others, he rode the Mount Jade Beast out of the city. In the private room, Ouyang Xuanqian unwillingly asked, "Grandpa, what are you doing? Yi Qinghan saved our lives and helped us complete our mission. How can you chase him away?" Ouyang didn't have any regret and calmly said, "This is his own choice. It has nothing to do with me." Da-da-da! The Mount Jade Beast seemed to be able to sense Yi Qinghan's mood and didn't dare to do anything excessive. It carried Yi Qinghan out of the Dragon City. Outside the Dragon City, Yi Qinghan looked up and saw the path to the heavens. However, he didn't know where the path was and a wave of sadness welled up in his heart. Chapter 2385. I'm really sorry, I missed another chapter yesterday. Everyone, please refresh the page. In order to save up chapters and go back to Jiangsu, there have been many chapter errors in the backend. I'm really F***ed up. I've decided to explode on May 2nd. I'll guarantee a minimum of 10 chapters. On May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I'll guarantee a minimum of 5 chapters. Please forgive me. Yi Qinghan rode the Mount Jade Beast aimlessly on the main road. He did not know where to go. In the immortal world, he was like a headless fly. Previously, he had a goal, but now, he did not even have a goal. The divine bird was asleep, and there was no one to talk to. Yi Qinghan waved his hand to summon Little Fox Immortal. Little Fox Immortal looked at the weary Yi Qinghan, who seemed to have aged several years. She could not help but feel sorry for him. Little Fox Immortal knew about the treatment Yi Qinghan received these past few days. How could she not feel sorry for this young man who relied on his own hard work to get to where he was? Master, why bother with these people? Little Fox Immortal sat beside Yi Qinghan and gently comforted him. Yi Qinghan leaned on Little Fox Immortal and said in a hoarse voice, "No need to talk, just let me lean on you for a while." Yi Qinghan closed his eyes and leaned on Little Fox Immortal's chest. He was so tired that he did not want to open his eyes. He had worked hard all his life and once covered the sky with one hand in the immortal world. Now, he was defeated by reality. No one could understand his feelings at this moment. Little Fox Immortal hugged Yi Qinghan and let him lean on her chest. At this moment, she really felt sorry for this strong and tired man in front of her. The Mount Jade Beast did not know where to go and could only move forward aimlessly. It tried its best to avoid crowds so as not to disturb Yi Qinghan on its back. Yi Qinghan did not know how long he slept while leaning on Little Fox Immortal. When he opened his eyes, the sky was densely covered with stars and rivers of stars. The white moonlight shrouded the endless forest. It was so beautiful that it took one's breath away. There was no one on the road, or rather, there was no road at all. The Mount Jade Beast had brought him and Little Fox Immortal into a no-man's land. "Where are we?" Yi Qinghan sat up and asked curiously. Little Fox Immortal did not know, nor did the Jade Mountain Beast. They were all very confused. One was a little fox immortal who lived in a small place all year round, a rookie who did not even dare to enter a small city. The other was a beast with low intelligence who slept all year round. Yi Qinghan could not rely on either of them. Yi Qinghan stood up and looked at the endless mountains and rivers. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. Reality? One day I will make you regret it. Yi Qinghan raised his head and roared. He clenched his fists and allowed the wind to blow at his battle robes. Roar! The Mount Jade Beast also let out a low growl, causing the forest to tremble and the leaves to rustle. Their voices intertwined, filled with Yi Qinghan's sadness and helplessness. Was it really that difficult to reconstruct the golden body? If it weren't for the fact that he wanted to reconstruct his golden body, he wouldn't have been humiliated like this. Let's continue forward wherever we go. I chose my own path. My fate is in my own hands. Yi Qinghan roared angrily. The Mount Jade Beast did not dare to disobey Yi Qinghan. He was so angry that he could do anything. Anyone who provoked him now would not have a good ending. After a long time, Yi Qinghan suddenly thought of Guangzhou. He hurriedly said, "Let's go to the Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom. I want to find Guangzhou." The Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom was west of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. At night, with the guidance of the moon, they realized that the Mount Jade Beast had been heading west, saving them a lot of time. The Mount Jade Beast carried Yi Qinghan on a mad dash, traversing through mountains and valleys. They traveled without knowing the passage of time, crossing mountains and tribes. Only when the Mount Jade Beast was tired would it stop to rest for a few days. Yi Qinghan was in charge of roasting meat to replenish the Mount Jade Beast's blood and qi. The Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom was 30 million miles away from the capital. A few years ago, it was a land without a master. But a few years ago, it became a land with a master. The master was an Earth Immortal rookie, shocking many Xian Immortal experts who coveted it. However, it was named Guangzhou Manor, and the master was called Lin Wutian. He was deeply trusted and nurtured by the princess. Not many people dared to covet the resources of Kwangzong Manor. Now, the experts of Kwangzong Manor had set up camp here. The experts of Kwangzong Manor had been sent out from their own world. However, they were all inner and outer sect experts of Kwangzong Manor. Those below the small saint realm were not qualified to enter the immortal realm. Immortal Peach Immortal had also entered the immortal realm with the help of Kwangzong Manor, helping Kwangzong Manor cultivate small saints and even great saint. Lin Wutian led the experts to mine the resources. In a short year, Kwangzong Manor had gained a foothold in Kwangzong Manor. However, some small factions knew that Kwangzong Manor had few people and even fewer experts, so they focused on mining the resources at the borders of Kwangzong Manor. Lin Wutian and the others could not do anything about it. After all, Kwangzong Manor's strength was too weak, and their numbers were too few. Even with the princess behind them, they could not cover the entire defense of Kwangzong Manor. However, with a large amount of resources to back them up, the talents of Kwangzong Manor's inner sect were already very good. Coupled with the pressure, their speed of improvement was terrifying. Lin Wutian's battle prowess was far ahead. He had already surpassed his masters, and was only half a step behind Yi Qinghan. Kwangzong Manor had been entrusting Xianyuan Qingyun with the task of finding out the whereabouts of Yi Qinghan. On this day, Xianyuan Qingyun personally came to Kwangzong Manor's territory and appeared in the inner sect of Kwangzong Manor. Xianyuan Qingyun's temperament was extraordinary, and the aura of an emperor shrouded her. Several young guards followed behind her, and each of them was a king of the younger generation. Many of them were in the top 100 of the heaven ranking of the entire celestial nation. This was the ranking of the entire celestial nation. Their overall quality was definitely much higher than the experts on the heaven ranking of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. Xianyuan Qingyun dismissed the guards beside her and said to Lin Wutian, "Dismiss all irrelevant people. I want to tell you about Big Brother Yi." Lin Wutian was pleasantly surprised. He hurriedly dismissed the people around him and asked excitedly, "Princess, where is my master now? Is he safe?" Xianyuan Qingyun nodded and said, "He is safe for now. After all, he has a jade mountain beast with him. However, he is being watched by the people of Endless Peak Mountain. I cannot guarantee that he will be able to return to the Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom safely." Lin Wutian was shocked and looked at Xianyuan Qingyun nervously. Whoosh! Xianyuan Qingyun waved her hand and took out a large map. It included half of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom and half of the Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom. Bang! Xianyuan Qingyun placed the map on the table and pointed to the northwest of the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. It was located at the border of the North Divine Region, Center Divine Region, and West Divine Region. Your master is now at this location. He is still very far away from the Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom. Even if the Jade Mountain Beast is very fast, it will take more than 100 years to reach the Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom. The most helpless thing is that we cannot send people to pick him up. After all, that place is not our territory. Xianyuan Qingyun said honestly. Lin Wutian was helpless. His strength was not as strong as Yi Qinghan's. Even if he went to help, he would not be able to solve the crisis that Yi Qinghan was in. At this moment, he could only clench his fists and wait for Xianyuan Qingyun's analysis. Whoosh! Xianyuan Qingyun's finger swiped across the map, following Yi Qinghan's location all the way to the border of the Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom. She pointed there and said, "This is the territory of the Qingzuan Immortal Kingdom's Spirit Central City. I will send people to pick him up. However, your master is not familiar with the immortal realm at all. He is completely relying on blind luck. I do not know if he can find the way to here directly. Princess, please help me think of a way." Lin Wutian bowed and begged. Xianyuan Qingyun shook her head and said in a low voice, "There is no way. I can only get some information through the intelligence system. However, I am very curious. He was heading towards the Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom's East Divine region. Why did he suddenly change his direction when he reached the Center Divine region's Dragon City? Something must have happened in the Center Divine region's Dragon City. According to the intelligence, it is not only the people from the Endless Peak Mountain who are tracking him. There is also a group of people who are tracking him. However, I do not know if they have good intentions or bad intentions. Even the high and mighty princess could not do anything. Lin Wutian could not help but feel despair. Chapter 2386. For the past 2 days, in order to save up chapters and return to Jiangsu, there have been many chapter errors in the backend. I've decided to explode on the 2nd of May with a minimum of 10 chapters. On the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, I'll have a minimum of 5 chapters. Author's note. The author's note. The author's note, to express my apologies and ask for forgiveness. This time, I really don't dare to look at the book review section. I made a mistake the day before yesterday and was scolded like a dog. Again, I'm covering my face and running away. The border of the Center God Province was located at the intersection of the West God Province and the North God Province. This place was already very far north, and the shrubs were as straight as javelins. In order to compete for the sunlight, the trees had no choice but to shoot towards the sky. Yi Qinghan rode on the Mount Jade Beast and traveled for 7 to 8 years. Just like that, he was aimlessly like a headless fly with the Mount Jade Beast. However, his main goal was to speed towards the Qing Zun Immortal Empire. Along the way, he asked countless people before he found the correct direction. However, the immortal world was fraught with danger and could encounter powerful enemies at any time. Yi Qinghan was very cautious along the way and tried his best not to go near human settlements. However, he was still tailed by people, and perhaps it had never stopped. The divine bird was still sleeping, but its soul was improving very quickly. It had already surpassed the immortal spirit immortal, immortal earth immortal and 6 other small realms consecutively and reached the immortal heaven immortal realm. Just based on the realm of its soul, it had already reached Yi Qinghan's level. Yi Qinghan had been studying it along the way, but it never woke up. He also couldn't figure out what happened to the divine bird and what the gem was. However, the divine bird's combat strength was 5 pieces of trash. No matter how high its realm was, it couldn't be of much help to Yi Qinghan. It could only give him ideas and chat with him. To Yi Qinghan, the divine bird had always been his spiritual sustenance. In recent years, Little Fox Immortal had become Yi Qinghan's spiritual sustenance. If she didn't say a word for so many years, even Yi Qinghan might be driven crazy. This was not seclusion, but rushing on the road. Little Fox Immortal sat at the front of the Mount Ju Beast and chatted with Yi Qinghan about life and ideals, the past and the future. They understood each other quite well. Master, they don't understand you. They will definitely regret it in the future. I believe that you will be able to shine brightly in the future. You can even surpass the East Royal family and lead the first person under the Immortal Emperor. Little Fox Immortal vowed. Little Fox Immortal's eyes lit up. If she could follow a future supreme, and she was familiar with the supreme's past, how exciting would that be? Yi Qinghan had a smile on his face, but his face was covered in stubble. It was unknown how long it had been since he dressed himself up. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice, "My dream? I'm very confused right now. I just want to avenge Guangzong and tear off Xikong Cheng's head. However, this will depend on my own strength. With my current strength, I can't kill Xikong Tanlang. Once both of us are injured, he will be prepared and it will be difficult to kill him in the future." Little Fox Immortal comforted him with a look of admiration. "Master, don't worry. Not to mention Xikong Tanlang, even if it's a golden immortal big shot, you can kill him in this lifetime. Yi Qinghan smiled slightly. He was not prepared to offend a golden immortal big shot, nor did he want to participate in the battle of the world. As long as he killed Sikong Tanlang, when his strength entered the golden immortal realm, he would go to the ultimate peak mountain and strive for reconciliation. As long as the ultimate peak mountain gave him face, he could spend as much money as he wanted. Bang bang bang! The Mount Ju beast galloped all the way, passing by countless villages and tribes. It also saw the essence of the immortal realm. It was actually just a higher realm, filled with savagery and blood. It was not as beautiful as the legends said. What immortal, what eternal! It was all nonsense. Life had taught Yi Qinghan many things, especially his state of mind. These years, he had seen through the so-called Tao of survival. His soul had been imperceptibly strengthened, slowly approaching the middle stage of the sky immortal realm. Yi Qinghan leaned on Little Fox Immortal. His eyes were as bright as the moon. He looked at the thousands of miles of stars, allowing the wind to blow on his face. His black hair fluttered and wrapped around Little Fox Immortal's face. The clothes that were as thin as a cicada's wings were like nothing. He could even feel Little Fox Immortal's heartbeat. Perhaps it was Yi Qinghan's first time being so pure with a woman like this. He did not touch her for many years, and the two of them snuggled up to each other. Just when Yi Qinghan's soul was at its cleanest and most stable, his brows twitched. He immediately sat up and turned to look at the gloomy forest behind him. The dense fog made it difficult to see beyond 100 meters under the illumination of the bright moon. However, a flow of air that did not come from the wind was slowly surging, hiding a hidden killing intent. Yi Qinghan whispered, "My peaceful life is gone." Little Fox Immortal had not felt the killing intent yet, but she understood Yi Qinghan too well and trusted him even more. At this moment, she did not doubt that the enemy was approaching and was about to make a move. "Who is it?" Little Fox Immortal asked. Yi Qinghan shook his head, exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, and said, "I'm not sure yet. I can only feel a surge of killing intent. It's pure killing intent without any other purpose. If it's not someone sent by the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable, then it's someone from the Endless Peak Mountain." "Pa pa pa." Yi Qinghan patted Mount Jade Beast and said, "Speed up, there's no need to fight them head-on." Roar! Mount Jade Beast was about to speed up, but it suddenly stopped and looked around vigilantly. There were straight ancient trees everywhere, almost reaching into the clouds. These trees in the north were relatively hard, and were even difficult to damage with swords. Mount Jade Beast might not be able to break them in one go. The fog suddenly increased by a lot, and the visibility could not even be seen 5 meters away. Yi Qinghan did not even have a suitable weapon, so he did not want to fight with them. He did not know who the enemy was or how many there were, so he was very cautious. Roar, roar, roar. Mount Jade Beast kept growling. It must have felt the danger and was even retreating. It was obvious that there were many enemies in front of it. There were enemies in all directions. Yi Qinghan took out 2 mid-grade Xianmu as weapons, his eyes like torches. Little Fox Immortal, protect the divine bird. Wake it up at the crucial moment, Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Whoosh, whoosh, screech. After a crisp sound, a black shadow flashed, and a figure changed position in the fog. The distance was already very close, and the killing intent caused the immortal birds to fly in all directions. Hundreds of immortal birds fled in panic into the sky. "Who are you? There are so many people, and you're still afraid of me?" Yi Qinghan stood on Mount Jade Beast and asked in a deep voice. No one answered. There was not a single reply. "Cowards, no matter if you have the East Clan or End Peak behind you, I don't think you're the strongest power. You're all King cowards," Yi Qinghan said disdainfully. The killing intent was even more intense, and even the sleeping divine bird was awakened. It had been 8 years. It had been sleeping for 8 years, and its cultivation had defied the heavens and changed its fate. Even its feathers had grown back, and it actually had 70 to 80% of its aura. This aura was not the aura a divine bird should have, but more like an invincible sovereign overlooking ants. This divine bird is here. Who dares to bully my little brother? The divine bird was majestic as it scanned the surroundings. Its eyes pierced through the fog, and a powerful aura filled the air. This was definitely not a pretense. Yi Qinghan staggered and almost fell off Mount Jade Beast. After he steadied himself, he said in a deep voice, 3 years have passed. I'll have to trouble you to maintain your attitude. I'm the boss. Bullshit. Are you trying to deny it? I've only been sleeping for a day. 3 years is still too early. The divine bird ignored the enemies hiding in the dark and directly scolded. Yi Qinghan pursed his lips and said, If you don't believe me, you can ask Mount Jade Beast and Little Fox Immortal how many years have passed. I've already run from Dragon City to the northern divine region. Chapter 2387. After the divine bird woke up, the first thing it did was to quarrel with Yi Qinghan. In its subconscious mind, it had really slept for a day. It was originally a very serious occasion, but now it was filled with killing intent. Yi Qinghan started to quarrel with the divine bird, ignoring the enemies outside. The enemies outside did not immediately make a move, as if they were watching a good show. Little Fox Immortal looked at the divine bird in surprise. After sleeping for a few years, she did not expect it to change so much. It was as if it had changed its soul. Divine bird, you really slept for 8 years. Can't you feel it? Little Fox Immortal reminded. The divine bird mocked in disdain. Did he sleep with you? Why are you helping him lie through his teeth? Bah! Nothing good comes out of a dog's mouth. Little Fox Immortal scolded. The divine bird mocked. If you have the ability, spit it out for me to see. Little Fox Immortal curled her lips and did not say anything. Whoosh! At this moment the killing intent approached. It was so strong that it could shake the soul. Finally, the divine bird became obedient. Its sharp claws grabbed the gem and said firmly, I'll protect you. This divine bird is no longer the same as before. Yi Qinghan laughed softly. Although he did not know what the divine bird had experienced, it was good to have combat power. He said lightly, Divine bird, you take care of the back. I'll take care of the front. Jade Mountain Beast, I'll help you break through the encirclement. Roar! Jade Mountain Beast stomped on the ground and the earth cracked. The ancient trees swayed. Thousands of beasts felt the threat of death and roared, shaking the forest. The wind and the crane were frightened, and the trees and grass were in danger. Little Fox Immortal's strength was not bad. Back then, she fought one against many. Now, she was guarding the back with the divine bird. The gem emitted a different order. It was completely different from the previous subconscious attack. Now, it could form a killing restriction. Its attack power was definitely several times stronger than before. Come on, little bastards. Have a taste of your Grandpa Divine Bird's power. The divine bird shouted excitedly. Whoosh, woo woo woo, a gust of wind blew and fog covered everything. It was difficult to see one's fingers, but one could feel the terrifying killing intent rolling up the airflow. Some real experts were changing their positions. Roar! The Mount Jade Beast roared. The terrain here was not suitable for it to fight. The ancient trees here were too tough, and this was an area towards the north. It was very difficult for it to roam freely. The enemy had already chosen their position and suppressed the Mount Jade Beast. Their target was Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan even closed his eyes and used his soul to sense the air currents to determine the enemy's position. Roar! Boom! A sword hum pierced through space and attacked from the left. Shoo! Shoo! 3 streaks of sword energy came from the front and the right. The sword energy caused Yi Qinghan's soul to feel a stabbing pain. The distance between the attacks of the 4 sword moves was too short, and it was impossible to break through them one by one. Boom! Yi Qinghan struck out with both his left and right hands. Although the mid-grade Mystic Mother did not have any offensive capabilities, its weight alone was enough to smash an immortal heaven immortal to death. The Mount Jade Beast roared and ferociously charged forward, blocking the 2 attacks at the front. Bang! The Mystic Mother in Yi Qinghan's hands smashed into the enemy's immortal sword. The powerful armor's defense blocked the heaven immortal level attack. He gave up on defense and seized the opportunity to defeat the enemy on the left. Enraged, he swung the Mystic Mother in his hands to the left. Boom! Puff! Ah! The fist-sized Mystic Mother weighed 100,000 kilograms. It directly smashed into the head of the heaven immortal level expert, shattering his soul and splitting his head into pieces. However, the terrifying scene was blocked by the fog. Roar! Bang! An immortal sword hit the back of the Mount Jade Beast. Sparks flew everywhere, but it did not break through the Mount Jade Beast's defense. It did not even make it move. Roar! The Mount Jade Beast turned around and directly swallowed the immortal sword along with the person. The immortal sword was bitten in half, and the screams were especially shrill. Whoosh! Little Fox Immortal's sharp claws exploded with a sharp cold light and slashed across the neck of an enemy. The screams echoed through the forest. However, the enemy was still on the ground when the Mount Jade Beast finished him off and swallowed him into its stomach. These were all experts of the heaven immortal level. They were rich in blood and were the favorite delicacies of the Mount Jade Beast. In the blink of an eye, the 4 people were completely annihilated. The divine bird did not even have time to show its power. The divine bird stood majestically on the back of the Mount Jade Beast. Its sharp claws grabbed the gem that emitted a powerful order and pressure. Its eyes flashed and its ears were alert. The ones it wanted to kill were those of the mystic immortal level, not those of the heaven immortal level. The powerful soul of the divine bird transformed into a transparent human figure. It was faintly discernible, but it looked too small, like a 3-year-old child. This was the limit of what it could transform into. After all, it had yet to transform into a human form. The 3-year-old divine bird muttered something in its mouth. The gem in its hand turned into a bracelet that was about the size of an adult's palm. It was barely able to hold it in the palm of its hand. The halo on the bracelet was restrained and did not have any offensive effect. However, Yi Qinghan, who had been attacked by the gem, knew that whoever encountered it would be unlucky. Even a beast like the Mount Jade Beast was afraid of it. It could directly attack the soul of any living creature. The runes of killing and restriction moved around like a peerless immortal treasure. Outside the fog formation, 2 mystic immortal level experts looked at each other and stared at the immortal treasure in the divine bird's hand. You killed Yi Qinghan. I want this immortal treasure. How about it? A thin and short middle-aged man said softly. No, no, no. I'll give you the credit for killing Yi Qinghan. I want this bracelet. The other tall and slightly plump mystic immortal level expert said forcefully. Outside the fog formation, there were more than 10 heaven immortal level experts looking down. They could easily see the situation inside the fog formation, but inside the formation, they could not see their own fingers. Roar! Yi Qinghan shot out energy and clapped his hands, hoping to shake off the fog. However, it was useless. Little Fox Immortal seemed to recognize something and muttered to herself, "This is the legendary 9-layered fog formation. I've heard that no one who fell into the 9-layered fog formation has ever been able to walk out." Yi Qinghan was shocked. He knew nothing about the formations in the immortal realm. However, a formation that was so famous in the immortal realm would definitely not be easy to deal with. Outside the array, the group of people didn't seem to be in a hurry. Instead, they looked at Yi Qinghan and the others inside the fog-killing array as if they were watching a show. They were like headless flies with strange smiles on their faces. The Mount Jade beast is not easy to deal with. Perhaps we can make it go crazy first and let them kill each other. That way it will be easier to deal with. The thin middle-aged mystic immortal said with a wretched smile. Humph, I thought it would be a big mission. Looks like it's just SOSO. We got 30 million celestial coins and a high-grade immortal treasure. In addition, this Yi Qinghan has many good things on him. We've made a killing this time. The tall and plump mystic immortal said confidently. Chapter 2388. Ninefold Fog Killing Formation. Yi Qinghan could no longer feel the killing intent. Instead, he felt that the other party had an even bigger scheme waiting for him. Why is it called the Ninefold Fog Killing Formation? Yi Qinghan pondered silently. Only by breaking the Ninefold Fog Killing Formation would the Mount Jade Beast be of use. Without the Mount Jade Beast, he wouldn't be able to fight against a mystic immortal expert without a good weapon, even if the other party was at the initial stage of the mystic immortal realm. The other party shouldn't be at the mid or high stage of the mystic immortal realm. Otherwise, when the Mount Jade Beast was trapped, the other party would have charged in directly. Yi Qinghan scanned the surroundings but couldn't see anything. However, the killing formation couldn't stop his train of thought. Mount Jade Beast, walk straight ahead. Walk in a straight line. Boom. Boom. The Mount Jade Beast constantly stomped on the ground and slowly walked forward. However, after walking for a long time, he still hadn't walked out of the killing formation. It even seemed like he was walking on the spot. Outside the formation, 2 early-stage mystic immortal realm experts and a dozen or so sky immortal realm experts were laughing. When they saw Yi Qinghan and the Mount Jade Beast walking on the spot like monkeys, their laughter was especially wretched. This Yi Qinghan is the same as the Mount Jade Beast. He doesn't have any intelligence and hasn't even heard of the Ninefold Fog Killing Formation. Ignorant child. Why don't the two of us personally try and see if we can directly kill Yi Qinghan and seize that bracelet? The tall and fat mystic immortal realm expert laughed and mocked. Alright, let's try. I've long heard that this Yi Qinghan can resist the attack of an early-stage mystic immortal realm expert. However, let me say this first. If I help you kill Yi Qinghan, that bracelet will be mine. Otherwise, don't blame me for falling out with you. The thin and weak mystic immortal realm expert said coldly. No, no, no. Today, we'll bet on who can kill Yi Qinghan. The bracelet will belong to whoever kills him. Big Brother won't bully you. I'll let you make the first move today. If you can kill him, I'll give you the bracelet. The tall and fat middle-aged man said indifferently. The thin and weak man was extremely confident and said proudly, Then you'll see. Whoosh. The positions of the two experts changed, and the stars moved one after the other. The thin and weak Xian immortal expert pointed his sword at Yi Qinghan, who was inside the formation, while the tall and fat one aimed at the divine bird, full of disdain. Attack! The two of them had been working together for many years and had a tacit understanding of each other. They attacked without hesitation, and in the blink of an eye, they killed their way into the formation. The divine bird seemed to have a premonition. Just as the tall and fat Xian immortal rushed into the killing array, it directly threw out the bracelet. Its mouth kept fiddling with some unknown law incantation, causing the bracelet to shine brightly, covering the tall and fat Xian immortal expert. Boom! The law of order emitted by the bracelet was like a net, directly enveloping the tall and fat Xian immortal expert. The bracelet exploded with a powerful soul attack, causing the tall and fat Xian immortal expert to scream in agony. His body convulsed as he instantly fell from the sky. Little bastard, do you think I'm a sick bird if I don't show my power? The 3-year-old little guy that the divine bird had transformed into put its hands on its waist and disdainfully waved its hand to call back the bracelet. Humph! The tall and fat Xian immortal expert groaned. His body convulsed, and his eyes saw stars. His soul was completely muddled, and he couldn't resist at all. In front, the thin and weak man was much luckier. He was facing Yi Qinghan, whose cultivation was much higher than Yi Qinghan's. In addition, Yi Qinghan only had defense but no weapon. When the immortal sword collided with the Xianmu, it directly caused Yi Qinghan to retreat a few steps. Roar! The jade mountain beast roared, and its forelimbs shot forward, wanting to stomp this Xian immortal expert to death. Whoosh! Boom! The thin and weak Xian immortal's speed was extremely fast and nimble. His body actually twisted 90 degrees in midair, and he lay flat in the void. He raised his immortal sword, and it collided with the jade mountain beast's fangs. Roar! The jade mountain beast's fangs went numb, and it screamed in pain. Its forelimbs kicked fiercely, and it directly sent the thin and weak Xian immortal flying. Bang! The thin and weak Xian immortal was almost kicked to death. He fiercely crashed into a thick ancient tree, and then fell heavily to the ground. The thin and weak Xian immortal endured the pain, and hurriedly rushed out of the formation, wanting to escape. Die! Boom! Yi Qinghan exploded, and along with the flow of the air, he directly took out the high-grade Xian Mu of extreme cold and ruthlessly smashed it at the thin and weak Xian immortal. Bang! The high-grade Xian Mu of extreme cold froze the surroundings, and it almost froze Yi Qinghan's soul. Fortunately, the Dragon Scale Soulguard Bell and Snow Flood Dragon Armor blocked 70% of the cold attack. Boom! The high-grade Xian Mu of extreme cold smashed past the thin and weak Xian immortal's right hand, and directly broke his right arm. The immortal sword in his hand flew out, and the powerful cold air directly crippled his right arm. It was not enough to let him luckily escape with his life. Whoosh! The killing formation rotated, and more than 10 figures flashed, quickly dragging the two Xian immortal experts out of the formation. The remaining Sky immortal experts were about to escape, but one was directly smashed by the divine bird, one was punched by Yi Qinghan, and one was trampled to death by the Mount Jade Beast. Then, they were all swallowed by the Mount Jade Beast. Although the two Xian immortal experts were rescued, another 4 undying Sky immortal experts were killed. The two Xian immortal experts were now confused, and their consciousness was in chaos. The remaining 7 or 8 Sky immortal experts were at a loss, and now they could not even maintain the 9-layered killing formation. Roar! Roar! A dragon's roar and a beast's roar shook the mountains and rivers, and the fog-killing formation was almost shattered. Yi Qinghan transformed into a dragon and soared into the sky, looking down at the ground. With a swing of his dragon tail, he stirred the formation, and the surrounding ancient trees were all shattered. What 9-layered fog-killing formation? Without an expert guarding it, it's just a trash formation. Yi Qinghan roared, and attacked the formation together with the Mount Jade Beast. Boom! Smoke and dust rose in all directions, and the Sky Immortal experts were so shocked that they did not know what to do. Bang! After 3 consecutive attacks, Yi Qinghan successfully broke through the fog-killing formation and appeared outside the formation. It was bright and the moon was in the sky. Countless huge trees that covered the sky were destroyed, and a large empty space was formed. The Mount Jade Beast roared, bared its teeth, and madly charged at the group of enemies. Boom, boom, boom! The Sky Immortal experts screamed in fear, but unfortunately, they became the targets of slaughter. Little Fox Immortal's claws were like swords, jumping up and down from the back of the Mount Jade Beast, and continuously killing the Sky Immortal experts. The two Xian Immortal experts were struggling desperately, hoping to escape with their lives, but the divine bird would not give them the time. It waved its hand and smashed the bracelet on the tall and fat man's head, and the powerful killing runes entered his soul, and easily broke through his soul defense. The tall and fat Xian immortal only had time to scream before he completely fainted. As for the thin and weak Xian immortal, his right arm was completely crippled, and half of his body was sealed in ice by the high-grade extreme cold Xian mother. His combat strength had decreased by half, and just as he stood up, Yi Qinghan's fist landed on his chest. Boom, poof! The thin and weak Xian immortal seemed to have been struck by lightning, and his body flew backward, crashing into a tree in the distance, and went limp on the spot. Yi Qinghan kept the high-grade extreme cold Xian mother, picked up the immortal sword from the ground, and placed it on the thin and weak Xian immortal expert's neck, and said lightly, "I'll only give you one chance. Which power do you represent?" "We are assassins, only responsible for killing. We don't know who hired us," the thin and weak man replied in fear. Yi Qinghan snorted and said coldly, "If that's the case, then you're useless." Bang! Yi Qinghan kicked the thin and weak Xian immortal, and kicked him in front of the Mount Jade beast, and said lightly, "He's useless, eat him." Roar! The Mount Jade beast swallowed him into its mouth, and its teeth shattered the Xian immortal armor, and directly swallowed him into its stomach. Chapter 2389. A Xian immortal expert died just like that. His death was rather tragic as he was eaten by the Jade Mountain beast. That tall and fat Xian immortal's body was still twitching. His soul seemed to be imprisoned and he couldn't exert any strength. Hua! Yi Qinghan took a few steps forward and looked down at the twitching tall and fat Xian immortal, waiting for him to wake up. After a long time, that tall and fat Xian immortal finally woke up. However, the immortal sword was already on his head, and he would be pierced if he moved slightly. "Your companion is dead. You can choose to be eaten by the Jade Mountain beast or leave alive. I am the fairest person," Yi Qinghan said calmly. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The tall and fat Xian immortal rolled his eyes and saw that his subordinates were all gone. They were all eaten by the Jade Mountain beast. Even the Xian immortal expert was dead. He couldn't help but feel a chill. "What do you want to know?" The tall and fat Xian immortal took a deep breath and asked. Yi Qinghan asked quietly, "Which power are you from?" Kakik, the tall and fat Xian immortal expert's eyes were filled with fear and his hands were trembling. "Who would want to die after cultivating to the Xian immortal realm?" "I am from the Nine Kills sect," the tall and fat Xian immortal said hoarsely. Yi Qinghan raised his brows and asked, "Nine Kills sect? What kind of power is that? Which powerful power does it belong to?" The tall and fat Xian immortal looked at Yi Qinghan as if he was looking at an idiot. His eyes were filled with disbelief. There was actually someone in the undying immortal realm who didn't know about the 9 Kills sect. Where did this country bumpkin come from? "Brother Yi, this 9 Kills sect has a long history and is not much inferior to the Dong clan. They belong to the upper echelons of the pyramid along with the extreme peak mountain, Zun Long Marquis Estate and the Dong clan. They don't belong to anyone and are only hired by powerful powers. There are 9 kills above and 9 kills below. Other than the immortal emperor, they can kill anyone." Little Fox Immortal was an experienced heavenly immortal in the undying immortal realm. Although she didn't know much, she wasn't as ignorant as Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan frowned and asked in confusion, "I didn't offend your 9 Kills sect. Why are you chasing after me? Who hired you?" The fat mystic immortal smiled bitterly and replied helplessly, "We belong to the lower 9 Kills and are only responsible for killing people. Only the upper 9 Kills are qualified to know the employer, so we don't know who hired this business." Yi Qinghan sneered and asked in a hoarse voice, "Looks like you're useless too." The fat Xian immortal cried out in fear, "Young hero, please spare my life. I'm a Xian immortal. I'm willing to be your slave. Please don't kill me." This guy was indeed very unlucky to have encountered the divine bird. More importantly, He had underestimated his opponent and allowed the divine bird to take advantage of his weakness. He did not even have the chance to resist. In fact, his combat strength was not bad. Yi Qinghan shrugged and said indifferently, "What do I need you for? You don't know much about the undying immortal realm, but this old servant has lived in the undying immortal realm for a long time. I know all the big powers. At least, I can solve many of your problems. Please accept me." The fat Xian immortal hurriedly begged. Yi Qinghan pondered for a moment. If Yi Qinghan placed a killing restriction on his soul and wanted to resist, it would take him a while to react even if he was a Xian immortal. That would be enough time for the divine bird to finish him off. With this guy by his side, Yi Qinghan could save a lot of time. "What's your name? If I accept you, will your 9 kills sect find trouble with me?" Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. The fat Xian immortal hurriedly replied, "This old servant is Qi Dongping. Whether you accept me or not, the 9 kills sect will find trouble with you. After all, they have already accepted the mission and will not rest until one of them is dead." Yi Qinghan rubbed his nose. Following which, he placed a killing seal on Qi Dongping's mind and said, "Since that's the case, I will accept you. However, don't try anything funny. The killing seal will explode in your mind at any time. Even if you are a Xian immortal, your soul will not be unharmed. The divine bird can kill you at any time." "Many thanks, Master, for sparing my life. This old servant will definitely do his best for Master," Qi Dongping said respectfully. Yi Qinghan pondered for a moment and asked, "I didn't offend many people in the undying immortal world. Let's not talk about the small powers. Sikong City counts as half, Extreme Peak Mountain counts as 1, East Royal Family, maybe 1. As for the Zun Long Marquis Estate, I have no enmity with them. Even if they are unwilling to tell me the method to reconstruct the golden body, they would not ask the 9 kills sect to kill me." Qi Dongping directly replied, "Sikong City Lord, that trash would not be able to hire the 9 kills sect. Extreme Peak Mountain has its own assassin organization. Zun Long Marquis Estate usually does not get involved in the matters of the underworld. If you don't have any other enemies, the East Royal Family is a possibility." Ka. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist. He was also suspicious of the Eastern Emperor Grand Venerable. In order to sever the Eastern Emperor Immortal's thoughts, this person actually killed him. "I understand. I want to return to the Qing Zun Immortal Country now. Lead the way for me and reach the territory of the Qing Zun Immortal Country in the shortest time possible," Yi Qinghan coldly said. Qi Dongping was very familiar with the routes in the undying immortal world and had a detailed map. He then took it out and drew a straight line on the map. He pointed at the Qing Zun Immortal Country's Spirit Central main city and said, "Master, we will go straight to the Spirit Central main city from here. This is the shortest and fastest route." Yi Qinghan looked at the map and asked, "Where are we now?" "Master, we are already in the northern God continent. Now we can reach the Spirit Central main city by following the east-west route," Qi Dongping said honestly. Yi Qinghan heaved a sigh of relief. With the speed of the Jade Mountain Beast, it would take at most a few decades to reach the Qing Zun Immortal Country. At the very least, there wouldn't be such strong enemies in the Qing Zun Immortal Country. Sikong City was still fine in his hometown. But once he left Sikong City with Yi Qinghan's strength, it wouldn't be a problem to kill him. "Lead the way and rest once a month. I hope we can leave the northern God continent in the shortest time possible," Yi Qinghan said firmly. Qi Dongping's body trembled and he muttered, "Master, can you let me rest for a while? Just now, your immortal pet caused great damage to my soul." The divine bird had a proud expression. If it wasn't for its weak strength, those 2 attacks would have been enough to kill Qi Dongping. "Wait for me to transform. Then I will beat you up," the divine bird said proudly. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up in disdain. He was clear about the divine bird's strength. It was only able to create a miraculous technique when people weren't paying attention. Once a mystic immortal expert was on guard, it would definitely not be able to break through their defenses. When can you transform? Yi Qinghan asked calmly. The divine bird held the bracelet proudly and said, "With this, I will be able to reach the mid-tier of the sky immortal realm in at most 3 years. Then, I will be able to transform. Kakik, when that time comes, I will be able to woo all the beauties in the world." Yi Qinghan looked at the divine bird in disdain. Even if this fella could transform, it would at most look 3 or 4 years old. Woo my *s. Chapter 2390. The outbreak will begin on the 2nd of May. Thank you for your support. In the forest, everything was dead silent. Even the birds and insects had disappeared. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged on the back of the Mount Jade Beast, waiting silently for Qi Dongping. A faint pressure slowly enveloped the immortal realm, which was already full of danger, and became even more frightening. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan suddenly opened his eyes. The strong aura of death once again enveloped him. This time, it was much stronger than before. After all, the 9 Kills sect had underestimated the enemy and did not pose a threat to Yi Qinghan. However, this premonition made his hair stand on end. At this moment, the divine bird was once again hugging the bracelet to sleep. It also did not sense any threat. Yi Qinghan knew that this was only his 6th sense. This kind of vigilance would only occur when danger was about to arrive. Just like the time when he saved Donghuang Xian, but this time, it was much stronger. Yi Qinghan could not help but look back. It was already the darkness before dawn. He could not see very far, but he could vaguely imagine that danger was infinitely approaching. The enemy has a powerful intelligence system that can constantly track my whereabouts. It seems that I have to speed up. Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. He turned to see that Qi Dongping had rested enough. He said, "Let's go. There's no time to lose. Try to avoid the intelligence system and eagle eyes." With that, Yi Qinghan flipped over and mounted the Mount Jade Beast's back. Qi Dongping followed suit and led the way. The divine bird lay in front of Yi Qinghan's chest. The bracelet on its claw was actually under Yi Qinghan's control, and it no longer attacked people unconsciously. The Mount Jade Beast trembled in fear for a while before calming down. It sped up, passing through mountains and valleys. It did not enter the human world at all. In the barren world, there were only endless wild beasts, Yi Qinghan and the Mount Jade Beast. In the distant borders of the North Divine Region, the Center Divine Region, and the West Divine Region, 3 figures appeared. If Yi Qinghan saw them, he would definitely recognize them. Old Freak Di Yao and his 2 subordinates. As for his other subordinates, their whereabouts were unknown. The 3 of them were extremely fast. Old Freak Di Yao's sense of hearing was simply too terrifying. Lying on the ground, he could actually hear sounds from millions of miles away. He could even identify the location and identity of the voice. This was his innate talent. He was also the most terrifying tracking expert in the undying immortal world. Last time, if he hadn't been in a hurry to enter the mine to search for Su Zhan and the others, Yi Qinghan definitely wouldn't have been able to escape his pursuit. Old Freak Di Yao led 2 of his mystic immortal subordinates and swept through the forest. His aura was restrained as he chased after Yi Qinghan relentlessly. With a distance of less than 1 million miles, Di Yao had been tailing Yi Qinghan, and Yi Qinghan had been unable to shake him off. The 2 of you, go to the main city of the Northern God Domain and mobilize all the forces of the Endless Peak Mountain. Keep Yi Qinghan in the Northern God Domain. Do not let him enter the main city of the Qing Zoom Immortal Empire. Old Freak Di Yao ordered. he rushed towards the cliff alone, while the other two rushed towards the main city closest to the northern god domain. Not only did old Freak Diao have an innate talent of hearing, his speed was also extremely fast. After all, he was a peak mystic immortal expert. His speed was even faster than the Jade Mountain Beast. The distance between the two would only increase. With Diao's speed, he would be able to catch up to Yi Qinghan in 5 years. Only 5 years, Yi Qinghan wouldn't be able to leave the northern god domain. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was feeling more and more pressure. That sense of urgency had already reached his heart, and even his breathing had become a little hurried. Speed up. Leave the northern god domain as soon as possible, Yi Qinghan said urgently. Qi Dongping was forced to his limits. Perhaps he didn't expect himself to be so fast. He was even more agile than a spirit monkey. Roar! The Jade Mountain Beast stomped on the mountain rocks, crushing the mountain peaks. 2 years later, the distance between the two sides had shrunk to 500,000 miles. Old Freak Diao was almost certain of Yi Qinghan's exact location. He flew in a straight line, and his speed had already reached its limit. In the northern god domain's Jingfan city, old Freak Diao's two subordinates had already ordered all the hidden spies and experts of the ultimate peak mountain. They were determined to capture Yi Qinghan this time. The entire world knew that the ultimate peak mountain wanted Yi Qinghan. If they couldn't deal with Yi Qinghan this time, the reputation of the ultimate peak mountain would suffer a huge blow. The ultimate peak mountain couldn't afford to lose. The 4 main cities of the northern god domain, Jingfan City, Scenic Garden City, Kaiyuan City, and Solitude City, had all used 80% of the resources of the ultimate peak mountain. They directly blocked off all the possible paths from the northern god domain to the spirit central city. Only a few extremely dangerous paths were left unblocked. Yi Qinghan only wanted to take these dangerous paths. He didn't want to face the ultimate peak mountain head-on. There were some paths that Qi Dongping and the Jade Mountain Beast couldn't take, so they had to take the risk and take the main road. They began to clash with the people of the ultimate peak mountain. Qi Dongping, are these people from the 9 Kills sect or the ultimate peak mountain? Or are they the hidden forces of the East Clan? Yi Qinghan asked as his Jade Mountain Beast was surrounded by a group of experts. Its speed began to slow down. Qi Dongping was almost certain, and firmly said, "This group of people must be the people of the Endless Peak Mountain. They are all fearless bandits and wanted criminals. The East Imperial family is a righteous force, and generally will not be involved with these evil people." Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. After confirming that these people were from the ultimate peak mountain, he knew that old Freak Diao was definitely chasing after them. He didn't want to be tied down by these bandits and wanted criminals. Once old Freak Diao caught up, he would die without a doubt. The Jade Mountain Beast could at most tie down old Freak Diao, but it couldn't tie down his subordinate. If you can run away, then run away. If you can kill, then kill. Yi Qinghan dodged and whispered. In fact, deep in his heart, he didn't want to fight to the death with the people of the ultimate peak mountain. He hoped that they could reconcile, especially when facing the attitude of the East Clan, Marquis Zun Long and Ouyang Hua. He understood the cruelty of reality. Without absolute strength, it was impossible for the people of the ultimate peak mountain to reconcile with him. Yi Qinghan didn't want to give in anymore. Since he had provoked hatred, then he would use his strength to erase it. Blood began to flow. The bandits and wanted criminals wanted to use their lives to block Yi Qinghan, but Yi Qinghan used his butcher's knife to slaughter them until their blood flowed like a river. At this critical moment, the divine bird's body flashed with immortal light. Powerful runes and killing spells were emitted all around. Again and again, 7-colored immortal light twisted the space. Above the divine bird, a faint image of a child began to appear. It's about to transform. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed with a cold light. He was a bit nervous. This wasn't a suitable time for the divine bird to transform. This was because transforming meant that the divine bird would have to reconstruct its golden body. In this environment, it was impossible for the divine bird to reach its strongest golden body. Don't run, let's go straight to the main city. We won't go to the spirit central main city. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and firmly said. Qi Dongping was shocked. He quickly reminded, Master, you can't give up. No matter which main city you enter, the ultimate peak mountain will be able to establish a relationship with them. We don't have any hope of escaping. Moreover, will the 9-kill gate let us go? Yi Qinghan clenched his teeth and lightly said, If it's a blessing, then it's not a curse. If it's a curse, then it can't be avoided. For the divine bird, I am willing to gamble. Chapter 2391. There were only 4 main cities in the northern divine region, and each of them had tens of millions of big and small cities. Jingfan City was located in the central region of the northern divine region and was famous for its Jingfan Mountain. Countless tribes and races built countless palaces and buildings on Jingfan Mountain, and the rich and powerful families could be found everywhere. Looking down from the sky, Jingfan City was endless at night, and there weren't even any city walls. It was obvious that the city wasn't afraid of being attacked. Jingfan Mountain was located in the center of Jingfan City, towering into the clouds. There were countless experts living in Jingfan Mountain, and even golden immortals and mystic immortals living in seclusion there. No one knew how many forces there were in the city. For example, the Li family, which was Li Pei's backer, was not one of the most powerful families in Jingfan City. There were countless families that were on par with them. As for the Qian family, they were not even in the middle class. Outside Jingfan City, an incomparably ferocious beast appeared. It was the Mount Ju beast, and Qi Dongping walked in front of it like a coachman. Yi Qinghan sat on the Mount Ju beast expressionlessly as he looked at the large group of experts patrolling outside the city. The super searchlight swept across, and the intense light pierced through the void, illuminating the outside of the city as if it was daytime. Yi Qinghan and Qi Dongping couldn't open their eyes because of the intense light. They only opened their eyes when the searchlight changed direction. Dong dong dong. Da da da. A large group of experts riding on immortal horses appeared outside the city and blocked Yi Qinghan's way. Their reaction speed was unparalleled. Yi Qinghan finally understood the strength of Jingfan City. This might be the power of a main city. Who are you? A deep roar of anger made even Qi Dongping tremble. The pressure and murderous intent were enough to make an assassin's expression change. The captain of a patrol team was actually a mystic immortal. Yi Qinghan didn't want to offend anyone, so he quietly jumped off the back of the Mount Ju beast, cupped his fists, and bowed. I'm a rogue cultivator, Yi Qinghan. I'm passing by your city and would like to rest for a few days. Yi Qinghan did not want to hide his identity, and there was no need for him to do so. This was the main city of Jingfan. If someone wanted to investigate his identity, it would be a piece of cake. If he gave a fake name now, it would only backfire. As for the patrolling troops, they didn't care who Yi Qinghan was. Even if Yi Qinghan was a wanted criminal of the Endless Peak Mountain, he was still innocent in the main city of Jingfan. The two forces were not connected at all. Qi Dongping finally saw the captain of the patrol team. His expression changed immediately, and he quickly transmitted a message to Yi Qinghan. Master, the captain of this patrol team is called Gao Sitten. He was an expert who walked out of Marquis Zunlong's team back then. He's the patrol team commander of Jingfan City, and his combat strength is extremely formidable. He probably discovered the Mount Ju beast, or else he wouldn't have appeared. Yi Qinghan was expressionless as he waited for Gao Sitten's permission. Gao Sitten frowned as he looked at Yi Qinghan. He looked like a veteran, and the smell of blood on his body was very strong. It was probably the result of years of fighting on the battlefield. "What's up with this Mount Jew beast? You're just a rogue cultivator. Why do you have a mystic immortal guard and a ferocious mount like the Mount Jew beast?" Gao Sitten obviously didn't believe Yi Qinghan and asked quietly. Yi Qinghan smiled slightly and said respectfully, "Lord Gao is indeed a veteran, and you were in Marquis Zunlong's team. Junior is in awe of you, and I dare not hide anything. This Mount Jew beast was tamed by Junior and a few students from the ancient Emperor Academy's battle department. Because Junior did them a big favor, the Mount Jew beast became my spirit pet. As for this mystic immortal guard, he offended me and was suppressed by the Mount Jew beast. I couldn't bear to kill a mystic immortal guard, so I kept him by my side, hoping that he could protect my life at a critical moment." Gao Sitten was stunned. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to know his identity and his past. He also didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be related to the ancient Emperor Academy's top students. "Tell me the truth. If you can't explain it clearly, not only will you not be able to enter the city today, you won't be able to leave either," Gao Sitten said coldly. Yi Qinghan let out a breath of turbid air and said respectfully, "Marquis Zunlong is a great marquis of the Celestial Empire. Even the crown prince has to be respectful of him. His team is famous, and the experts in his team are all heroes. It is normal for Junior to know your name. As for the Mount Jew beast, you can ask the ancient Emperor Academy's battle departments Su Zhan and Ouyang Xuanqian. They can testify for me. They can testify." Gao Sitten nodded. Yi Qinghan's words were watertight, especially the first part. It wasn't flattery but the truth. Anyone in Marquis Zunlong's team was a hero. It wouldn't be a problem for them to become the city lord of a large or small city. Therefore, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that Marquis Zunlong had students all over the world. As for the explanation of the Mount Jew beast, Gao Sitten felt that Yi Qinghan wouldn't dare to lie. As long as they checked the information system, they would be able to verify the truth. Restrain the Mount Jew beast. If it dares to cause trouble in the city, you won't be able to escape death, Gao Sitten said coldly. Yi Qinghan nodded and said, "Don't worry, my lord. The Mount Jew beast has been completely tamed. It won't dare to cause trouble." Whoosh! Gao Sitten turned and left. If it wasn't for the Mount Jew beast, even if Yi Qinghan entered the main city, it wouldn't have attracted his attention. Therefore, after confirming his identity, he left with his team and disappeared into the darkness. Yi Qinghan breathed a sigh of relief and quickly rode the Mount Jew beast into Jingfan City. Xianyuan Qingyun personally oversaw the Crazy Manners fief. She didn't leave and was constantly gathering information. On the 10th day after Yi Qinghan entered Jingfan City, more than 10 pieces of information were sent to the Crazy Manners fief. Report: Princess, Old Monster Di Yao of the Endless Peak Mountain, has mobilized most of the Endless Peak Mountain's forces in the northern Divine region to encircle and annihilate Yi Qinghan. The Nine Kills sect is also secretly mobilizing and gathering in Jingfan City. As for Yi Qinghan, he has given up on advancing and is now entering Jingfan City. A large amount of information was sent to the Crazy Manners fief at the same time. Lin Wutian was stunned, and so was Xianyuan Qingyun. Yi Qinghan entering the main city now was no different from courting death. Why? Hadn't he been heading towards Spirit Central City the entire time? Why did he suddenly change direction and run into Jingfan City? Xianyuan Qingyun asked angrily. Lin Wutian was also quite nervous. A few years had passed in the blink of an eye. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to run to Jingfan City. Princess, the specific reason why Yi Qinghan suddenly entered the main city and gave up on his previous route is still under investigation. As for Yi Qinghan's safety, it can still be guaranteed for the time being. Neither the Endless Peak Mountain nor the Nine Kills sect would dare to kill Yi Qinghan in public. They are afraid that the Nine Kills sect and the Endless Peak Mountain would join forces and make a move in secret, the intelligence officer said respectfully. Lin Wutian heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Yi Qinghan was safe for the time being, there was still hope. Princess, please stay in the crazy manor. I will go with an Uncle Master to welcome Master. In addition, please contact me through the intelligence officer at any time to guide me. Lin Wutian finally couldn't sit still. Now that he had Xianyuan Qingyun as his backing and had broken through to the early immortal heaven, immortal realm, his combat strength was definitely not weak. Even if he was weaker than Yi Qinghan, he could still be ranked in the top 10 of the heaven list of a large province. Who are you going with? Xianyuan Qingyun asked with a frown. Uncle Master Yen Yunbei. At this time, we are definitely not his match. Only Uncle Master Yen Yunbei is useful to Master, Lin Wutian said truthfully. Xianyuan Qingyun nodded and said, Go. Tell him that I have already sent people to wait for him in Lingyang City. Chapter 2392. In Jingfan City there was a mountain with 10,000 steps. Even from afar, one could see the majesty of Jingfan Mountain. Those who were able to live in Jingfan Mountain were all nobles with countless experts. Yi Qinghan did not want to enter Jingfan Mountain. He only wanted to provide a good environment for the divine bird to reconstruct its golden body. Tap, 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 Qi Dongping led the Jade Mountain Beast and walked on the official road. At night, the official road was deserted with no one around. There were only patrols patrolling the road. The patrols were only in charge of safety and did not care about Yi Qinghan. As long as he did not cause trouble, no one would pay attention to him. A few inns were brightly lit, but they were too small and were not suitable for the Jade Mountain Beast. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice, Qi Dongping, take us to a large inn. We will be staying in the city for a few years or even a few decades. The Extreme Peak sect and the Nine Kills sect will not make a move against us in the city. I don't believe they can outlast me. Gulp. Qi Dongping was already convinced by Yi Qinghan's audacity. Who would dare to go against Nine Kills sect and Ultimate Peak sect at the same time? Sigh. Master, Jingfan Mountain is a place of trouble. This old servant advises you to leave as soon as possible. Qi Dongping said truthfully. Yi Qinghan silently watched as the divine bird's transformation was about to begin. There was no time to wait. The divine bird had finally formed its battle strength with great difficulty. If he missed this opportunity, even if the divine bird did not hate him, he would not be able to forgive himself. I am fine with it, but the divine bird needs to reconstruct its golden body. This is very important, Yi Qinghan said firmly. Qi Dongping could not understand and blurted out, it is only a spirit pet. How can it be compared to Master's life? Yi Qinghan smiled indifferently and gently stroked the divine bird. He said with a hoarse voice, as long as I acknowledge it, no matter if it is a spirit pet or a brother, it is more important than my life. Furthermore, I am confident that I can protect my own life. Qi Dongping looked at Yi Qinghan's resolute and carefree face, and couldn't help but be overwhelmed by his courage. In his entire life, he had never seen anyone who would give up their own path of survival for a chance for their spirit pet. If this kind of person didn't die, they would definitely become a dragon that soared to the heavens. This old servant admires Master's state of mind. A while ago, it was because I was afraid of death that I served you. Now, this old servant is sincerely willing to use my life to assist Master on the road to heaven, Qi Dongping said respectfully. Yi Qinghan smiled. He still had to test Qi Dongping. Qi Dongping was just a slave now, not a brother. Whoosh. Qi Dongping had some understanding of Jingfan Mountain. He quickly brought Yi Qinghan through a few streets and arrived at a Dexing Inn. He asked for 2 rooms and a place to rear the Jade Mountain Beast. Everything was paid for by Qi Dongping. After being in the undying immortal world for so many years, Qi Dongping had some savings. However, it wasn't as exaggerated as Yi Qinghan's. Qi Dongping had a room to himself. Yi Qinghan brought the divine bird into the room and summoned Little Fox Immortal. Little White, help me look after the divine bird. I need to prepare the materials to reconstruct its golden body, Yi Qinghan said softly. Little White Fox Immortal looked at the divine bird enviously. The relationship between Yi Qinghan and the divine bird was definitely not like the relationship between a master and a spirit pet. Even though she and Yi Qinghan had been alone in the wilderness for so many years, she still couldn't reach the level of relationship between the divine bird and Yi Qinghan. The next day, Yi Qinghan left the inn alone. However, just as he walked onto the street, at least 7 or 8 eyes were staring at him. Moreover, they kept changing positions. This wasn't because he was too handsome, but because he was a spy. Yi Qinghan lowered his head and walked, pretending not to know. However, he knew that there was more than one power that was chasing after his location. Am I that popular? Yi Qinghan laughed bitterly. He pretended that nothing was wrong as he walked on the main road. After asking around for a long time, he finally found the branch of the Li family's immortal treasure shop. The Li family's business was huge, and they covered the entire Dragon Emperor Immortal Kingdom. They had dozens of branches in every main city, and there would be a few in major cities as well. Even the weakest branch owner was an expert at the pinnacle of the undying heaven immortal realm. From this, one could see how powerful the Li family was. Yi Qinghan stepped into the Li family's immortal treasure shop and went straight to the point. He said to the servant, "My name is Yi Qinghan. Get the branch owner to come out and see me." The servant glared at him. He didn't want to acknowledge Yi Qinghan. However, when he saw the cold look in Yi Qinghan's eyes, he quickly lowered his head and retreated. After a while, an old man in a brocade robe came over. However, he wasn't the branch owner. He was just a steward in charge of the basic operations of the immortal treasure shop. I am Li Yan, the steward of the Li family's immortal treasure shop branch. If you have any requests, you can speak to me directly. I have everything you want and the price is fair. Old Li Yan was full of smiles. He wasn't as arrogant as the other servants. Yi Qinghan looked at Li Yan and asked mildly, "Do you know Li Peiza?" Li Yan was stunned. Li Peiza was the only person in the younger generation of the Li family to enter the top 30 of the Heaven leaderboard. He had heard that there had been a change in the Heaven leaderboard and that Li Peiza had entered the top 12. The Li family had even held a special banquet. How could the Li family not know Li Peiza's name? "You are?" Li Yan asked curiously. Yi Qinghan said coldly, "My name is Yi Qinghan. Ask the branch owner to inform the Li family and Li Peiza that Yi Qinghan is in Jingfan City. Ask him to come and see me." Li Yan was confused. Yi Qinghan's name wasn't famous in Jingfan Mountain. He was even a nobody. If anyone could ask Li Peiza to take care of the branch, wouldn't Li Peiza be busy to death? I am friends with him. He has a high-grade absolute cold enigmatic mother with me. As long as you are in charge of informing him, he will come and see me. Yi Qinghan saw that Li Yan was suspicious and explained again. High-grade absolute cold enigmatic mother was worth at least a few 100 million celestial coins. If the quality was good, it would definitely be worth more. Li Yan was shocked. He looked at Yi Qinghan with even more suspicion. High-grade absolute cold enigmatic mother was worth a lot. As long as Li Peiza wasn't stupid, he wouldn't give such an item to an outsider. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan waved his hand and took out the high-grade absolute cold enigmatic mother, instantly freezing the entire counter. However, he put it away again in the blink of an eye. I will inform the Center God province immediately. Where are you staying now? Li Yan finally looked surprised and asked immediately. Yi Qinghan shrugged and replied indifferently, I will come again when he arrives. However, this time, I have other important matters to attend to. Ask your shop owner to come out and see me. I have a big business deal with him." Li Yan didn't dare to delay. He quickly led Yi Qinghan into a private room, and then went to invite the shop owner of the Immortal Treasure Shop. Yi Qinghan sat in the private room and pondered silently. The divine bird's transformation required a supreme-grade transformation elixir. Then, it needed to reconstruct the golden body. All the materials had to be of the best quality. Only then could the divine bird's combat power reach its limit. Li family's Immortal Treasure Shop branch might not be able to gather all these materials, but the entire Jingfan main city definitely had them. Therefore, he still needed the shop owner's help. Yi Qinghan was willing to spend money on the divine bird. He wouldn't hesitate to spend all his money, let alone tens of millions. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.